Score! Score!
Can you smell that? Scobie-Wan, can you smell that? You can smell that? Can you smell the anthropology? Can you smell the anthropology? Amon Hillman owes me an apology. Because he's too much of a coward to debate me. We be reading Marx where I'm from. We be rocking Clark's where I'm from, and we be misquoting Clerks where I'm from. You know what I mean, Scobie-Wan? Scobie-Wan knows what I mean because he has ears to hear. He has ears to hear, and he knows what I'm smelling. He can smell the anthropology because he has a nose to smell. And if you've ridden Tristram Shandy, then you would know this already. Yeah, but you haven't, have you? You haven't read Tristram Shandy, have you? Oh God! That's a Sam Kinison impression. Thank you. I'm very funny. I'm absolutely fucking hilarious. What do you know about hilaritas? What do you know about hilaritas? I'm Andy Moorhall. I'm going to be your entertainment for the next 7 minutes and 6 seconds. And if you have ears to hear and you're not an Amoniskos and you can do basic mathematics, then you know that's how many minutes?
7 minutes and seconds.
How many seconds?
7 seconds.
I don't know what you just said, Scobie-Wan. You just stepped all over my bit, Scobie-Wan. This is called Chronosian satire, aka killing time for the next 7 minutes and 6 seconds. What you are witnessing is, oh God! Killing time. Chronosian satire. What do you know about Dionysian satire? What do you know about Apollonian satire? You don't! Because you haven't read it. I put the nose in Chronosian satire. When I met Amon Hillman, I said, hey, bud. Hey, buddy. Hey, big guy with your bald head and your tattoos. Oh, God! With your bald head and your tattoos. You're not the only one who's read Henderson and Karl Rock. Oh, God! You're not the only one with a bald head and tattoos on your head who can holler into a microphone. Oh, God! You're not the only one. Did you know the Greek language has a bajillion and 2.7 words, Johnny? A bajillion and 2.7 unique words. But it doesn't have one single word at all for smelling with your mind nose. The Greek language is not capable of putting the nose in Chronosian. The Greek language is barbaric. It's barbaric. You're just adding neologisms on top of neologisms on top of neologisms. And you're making linguistic bukkake. It's garbage. It's a garbage language because it cannot put the nose in Chronosian. I'm from a red county in a blue state. Mandy, I came here to do two things, but bubblegum makes my teeth hurt. They say you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. You can't yell at a neither. I'm from the land of catcalls and dog whistles, check engine lights and virtue signals. I'm from the land of whole milk and old money. You don't go killing all the bees if you're out to get the honey. I got a 1997 Buick LeSabre for sale as is. I hope they released the documents on a bridge. Yo, Robert Frost was a shit cartographer. Every soccer mom with a Fitbit's a photographer. There were Dodge students for undergrads and Foucault's problematic too. You see, every time Amon Hillman says that the context and the death of the author, and he's contradicting himself. He's quoting Derrida to your stupid faces, and none of you have read Derrida. Fucking duh! None of you have read Ronald Barthes, so you don't know about the death of the author. You don't know about it. You don't know about post-structuralism. Read a fucking book, you dullards. Mind your tone, don't make my day. I'm finna grind your bones to balance my MPK. I got snakes in my garden I've been meaning to tread on. Fakes get no pardon, yo, my aim is dead on. When the chickens come home to roost, they'll be misquoting Deleuze. When the chickens come home to roost, they'll be misquoting Deleuze. Robert Frost was a shit cartographer. Every soccer mom with a Fitbit's a photographer. There were Dodge students for undergrads and Foucault's problematic too. But none of you have read any of that. You're not getting the references because you don't have ears to hear. That's the problem. You don't have ears to hear, and you don't have noses to smell. You do not know how to put the nose in chronosian because you're seeking Mother Greek. You're seeking Mother Greek, and you're trying to read her. But none of you know about the Lemnos rights. None of you, because you haven't read Karl Rock. You're just repeating things that Amon Hillman says. You're just repeating them word for word as if it was the truth. Do you know what the truth is? To quote Friedrich Nietzsche, to end this ironically, to end it and to begin the interview, it's customary to reference a dead German dude. That's a Hegel reference, you dullards! It's customary to reference a dead German dude. And I don't want to disappoint my audience. Obi-Wan, I don't want to disappoint him! Oh, God! The history of all hitherto societies is the history of y'all struggling to understand satire. Freddie Marx. The gospel according to Freddie Marx. Oh, God! I'm very excited for my friend Witch Doctor to join us tonight. Thank you for witnessing the last 7 minutes and 6 seconds. 6 minutes and 66 seconds, you dullards! With no further ado, theys and thems, gabies and rabies, she's and he's and hers and hims, make a huge round of applause for my good friend Witch Doctor. That's the sound of one hand turkey clapping. That's the sound of one hand turkey clapping.
That really hurt.
I know that really hurt. Hey, Witch Doctor, can you hear me?
That's your chair.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, buddy. Thank you for joining us tonight, man. How are
What
you,
is up?
buddy?
I'm so excited, dude.
I was having fun diatribing.
Yeah, I see that.
How you been, buddy? How are things?
Dude, man, things are going great.
Man, your fucking Sam Kennison is dialed in.
I know. My oh God is on point, right? How fucking good is my Sam Kinison impression? It almost sounds
my fucking kids up.
Oh man. So dude, I think most of the audience knows who the hell you are, most likely, but you want to do like a quick elevator pitch, let those who don't know, those who don't have ears to hears or the nose to put in chronosian, let them know who the hell you are, dude.
Sure. My name.
Sure.
So
Sure.
my name is Witch Doctor. I've been friends with Mandy and Scobie-Wan for I guess about a year now. A year ago, I had finished writing a book, or at least putting together a bunch of pretend half satire research articles together into a book called Witch Doctor Christianity that I never published. I just had it, stored for a while, which led to a YouTube channel, which the handle for that is underneath my name. And if you type that in, you'll go and you'll see all the stuff that we've looked into for the last year or so. There's been a crew of us. Mandy's been on the show a few times. Probably 7 or 8 times now. But,
Yeah, it's been a bunch.
But yeah, I'm a fiction writer. There's nothing about me is
Let there be light.
the narrative or anything like that. But I write fiction in the world of Greek and Christian lore, if you will. But I just finished a book called Secundus, which I'm sort of promoting now, and it's available on Amazon. And I'll talk a little bit about it. But is that what you wanted to do first, bro, or did you?
Oh man, I was just letting the people get to know him, ease them in a little bit, just a tip, and then we'll give them the book.
Just the
Sure.
Yeah,
So
ease it in, spit on it first, man. Buy him dinner.
So let's see. I am from South Carolina, and was an atheist my whole life, and I was really obsessed with religion. So I decided to always, read different things, National Geographic or different books laying around the house. Had really interesting parents, really educated. A lot of pseudo theology, also, but not really like in a weird kind of culty way or anything like that. We were a military family. So when I was 17, joined the army, went to Iraq in 2007. I was a gunner on a truck in right below Sadr City, East Baghdad, Zafrania and Rustamaya. There's 2 different FOBs, or FOB loyalty. For anybody in the military that might have been there at that time, they know exactly what it was like. Tons of movies on it. So after that, I went into the fitness industry for a while. Actually did very well with that. Did bodybuilding, competed for a little while, got into the whole fitness modeling thing. It actually worked out, believe it or not, and managed to get some really cool sponsors and different photo shoot opportunities.
You telling me working out worked out for you? God damn. Look at this guy.
Yeah, I was very lucky. So when growing up, I was like fat in high school. So when I joined the army, it was more like, oh, I just want to lose weight, but fuck serving the country. It's like, no, you got a great workout program here, right? So my dad, he was army. So it was like, all right, I didn't even take the SATs. I was like, I'm going to go in the army anyway, in some way, shape or fashion. And they'll take care of that. That seemed to be a really big obsession of mine, though, was losing that weight, which it can be hard for people. And so later on in life, obviously after the army, I became a personal trainer at Gold's Gyms and a couple of different other branches in South and North Carolina. Cool job. Nobody ever does what you tell them to. It's it's thankless sort of thing. Train guys for bodybuilding shows. Also, I'll be straight up, worked with a lot of steroids, lots of drugs. There's a whole book there of knowledge for sure, that I would probably enjoy writing, honestly. And that was my life for a decade, if not more. It was eating 6 meals a day. It still kind of is. My wife's a pro figure competitor as well. She just had our son 4 months ago. So, congratulations to her. But so being out of the show shape and stuff like that's definitely, something she doesn't love. But, once you're done with the baby, you can get back in shape, go on stage, whatever you want. But I'm older now, so I don't really care about doing that. I was a loser, doing bodybuilding shows and 6 meals a day, bro, blah, 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 and wanting to be famous for just working out every day. And I mean, some guys do that, and I met a lot of guys that were able to live off of that, but I wasn't able to do it. So did good. I mean, I can tell y'all right now, you can go to muscleandstrength.com, you can type in 4-day mass workout, or just click through different articles and you'll see my stupid face, you know, pouring protein into a cup or something. But I got really lucky. I did a show with the videographer and the photographer for Muscle and Strength, actually. And they were just like, hey, man, you need to come do a thing. I was like, yeah, for sure. And I hadn't even gotten a pro card or anything. So I was just like, the one in a lifetime opportunity. Yeah, so, you know, that's cool. So as a guy in the fitness world, that's kind of cool to be able to brag about that. You know, I definitely never had a problem getting a job in the gym industry. Except for like one time I did like believe it or not, I did apply like as a janitor, just because I was like, I didn't want to do like selling memberships or personal training people anymore, because nobody does what the hell you tell them to or whatever.
Right.
So it just sucks. You got these I don't know, these moms or whatever that they've gained all this weight, you know, they're so upset and stuff. And their husbands are paying so much money for them to come and do this stuff, and they're fucking cheating on their diet so much or whatever. And it's just like, oh man, come on, give me something here, you know. But after a while, I was like, I need to get out of this, and I went into security for politicians for a while. I'll kind of spare the details there, but wound up out here in Texas, and still had never published any of the books that I had written along those years. You know, I had written books about military humor, fiction, about like this, you know, different teams that might remind you of different movies you've seen, you know, where there was a comical edge to a special team of guys or something, you know, blah, blah, blah. I wrote another one about a SEAL. Most of my stuff was military, to be honest with you. So lo and behold, you know, if you go back far enough in history, there's kind of always military sprinkled around, you know. So when it came to writing different stuff, it was usually modern, to be honest. Although I did redo, well, I redid Much Ado About Nothing, the screenplay from the play Shakespeare, and I redid it as a screenplay, but I did it contemporary, and it was set in like the Greek village at USC, South Carolina, like this cool like strip of houses that's freaking Greek looking. It's badass, actually. Yeah, y'all can probably do it. Yeah, real cool. And you know, all the letters and stuff, and you know, they do the Greek week and everything like that too. But I still wasn't, you know, obsessed like we are now, I'd say, with the Greek stuff until now. Through those years, I think everyone's seen Troy and Immortals and all the cool movies. Y'all read encyclopedias and stuff more. Some of y'all have maybe done more and whatnot, but I didn't really start digging deep into it until the last few years. And I just pretty much wanted to know, you know, all this research that I've done and making the YouTube channel Witch Doctor, just trying to figure out what are the chances, what are the odds that maybe the early Christian groups were using entheogens. You know, I was really captivated by that idea, and everybody wants it to be true. They still kind of call it pseudo religion to say that, I guess. I don't know what you call religion. Is that a pseudoscience? But yeah, you know, like I feel like I feel like we all know that they did, and we have different books and stuff like Immortality Key, or just the churches themselves and the shit painted on the walls. Like, oh, they probably were eating mushrooms at this one because they're fucking painted on the walls, you know. Like, I don't even go out of your way to paint that there all over the shit, but it's there, you know. Or a gigantic one between Adam and Eve, you know, with the damn ribs showing and stuff. We all know about the fasting rituals from like the Greek world, and the different drug world, the different Eleusinian. Everyone says that first. Eleusinian mysteries, blah, 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 blah. And it's really cool. At this point, it seems like I've talked about this so much for the last year or two that I don't even really know where to begin when it comes to those topics. So I did put everything together into a book called Witch Doctor Christianity, but this is just the first, like, chunk of it. Then after we went live with the Witch Doctor channel, we gathered a crew of people, Mandy being one of them. He was a special guest here and there, brought different sources, different times, just looking for different things, just to try to get a better understanding of different texts that we wanted to put into a book. There was this other book before Secundus became Secundus, and it was supposed to be an alternate universe book, a dystopian type of, There's a book called A World Without Islam, not trying to bring that up in any way, just saying there was a book called that. And some CIA dude wrote it,
Oh, okay.
I skimmed over it, whatever. And then there's the book, The Year of Rice and Corn, where like Christianity kind of dies out in Europe and China and Islam become a thing, up in your, and it's kind of different, All of this I've done more cliff notes and not reading the books. It's not really part of this, or any of the things I've written. And then y'all have heard of other ones. I mean, hell, Hunger Games is dystopian to a degree, well, I mean, obviously it is, but it's not pretending to be the state of anything realistically now, obviously.
Right.
It's like The Purge. It's not realistic, it's fiction, So for the longest time in my family, different books like Holy Blood, Holy Grail, knock over Winnie the Pooh on accident. Holy Blood, Holy Grail. It was real popular in my house. I think just the idea that some authors got together and really committed to the notion that like Jesus living, the character they're talking about as far as Jesus, we're talking about different ancient Greek stuff, ancient Christian stuff, whatever. Jesus as the archetype, let's just say he was a real guy. The idea that he might have lived after the crucifixion, there's been a few movies that have had sort of a spin like this. Everyone's seen The Da Vinci Code, Tom Hanks, and forget that girl's name. I don't know. She looks like two other actresses, so I couldn't tell you. So is that Catherine Zeta-Jones, or is it that other chick from Constantine? No, it's neither one, actually. I don't know what her name was. That was a cool, book, Dan Brown. Ironically, growing up, when I was in the Army, I did meet a guy named Dan Brown, who ironically has a PhD in theology.
Oh,
The funniest thing, yeah. Imagine him going to give like a speech somewhere and like, oh, Dan Brown, theology, yeah, like who's this? What's all this about? It's like, no, it's just me, But he said that did sort of happen once. He was talking out of class, but I can't remember the story exactly. But either way, what a cool, major for sure. Religion, theology.
but he wasn't the Dan Brown.
No.
That would have been hilarious.
This was Dan Brown, the civil affairs specialist at the time when I met him.
Okay.
He's the first guy I met, before I even went to basic training.
Yeah.
They let me go to drill weekends with the 360th Civil Affairs Brigade, Airborne. It's a little airborne reserve unit in South Carolina, just chilling on Fort Jackson.
Yeah.
It's like the country club of reserve units. And they're like, hey, yeah, you can drill with these guys before you go and stuff. So I show up, and he's like the first guy that I meet. So he takes me to like get a uniform, takes me to Burger King, takes me to the liquor store, but to get himself liquor for like a party that night, not for me. And just pretty much hung out with him all day long. And he just kind of got out of work and got to just take me to do stuff all day as like a way to get out of doing shit. And we've been friends ever since. He switched out of that unit to like a public affairs unit or whatever. But it would be funny if he ever saw this and was like, oh my God, what the hell is this retard doing up there? But yeah, man. Yeah, I don't even really know where to go from there. If y'all had any questions or anything.
Shit, man, that was a great diatribe. That was like 20 minutes. It was great.
It's like
We're going for
like
an elevator pitch.
like
How,
8 minutes.
how,
I don't really talk that much normally. I just decided to just go, you know.
Well,
it's like
do you-
it's like the longest elevator ever. What's the world's tallest building? Like how long did it take to get from the top to the bottom of that one?
Forgot.
They made a new one, so it's like in Dubai now. So
Yeah.
you know, we grew up in Charleston. Yes. I was gonna ask you where in South Carolina, but I didn't want to pry too much. But
Holy shit.
yes,
I don't know y'all's real names.
that's totally fair. I only know yours because of Amazon.
That is so funny. So you were in Charleston. Okay.
Between 90 to 95, maybe 94, maybe.
Yeah, 95.
Okay. So I moved there from Virginia, and that year, 4th grade, the yearbook says 97 on the front of it.
Oh, okay.
So we moved there in 96.
Okay.
And it was Somerville, right next to Charleston.
Mm.
And my mother worked at Ladson. She worked in Ladson at Black Bottom Stables, which was a really famous horse stables that was there for forever. And if anybody in that area had a horse, that's where they kept it. Pretty much. There's like nowhere to keep, horses in suburbs and stuff. But I took bass and guitar lessons at the Tone Zone on Trolley Road. But we came to Charleston frequently because there's really not that much in Somerville. But I will say that in the very end of 7th grade, we moved out to Walterboro.
Oh, okay.
The country. Yeah, so if anybody watching is not familiar, you can kind of envision Charleston. Y'all have seen it, Travel Channel back in the day, cobblestone roads, the market, the girls making the reed hats and the baskets everywhere. Really cool beach piratey vibes in Charleston for sure.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
You have the suburbs outside of that. You have, I think, Goose Creek, Mont's Corner, and Somerville, and kind of Beaufortish, I guess. That's kind of a little ways away. That's kind of what Parris Island is,
We grew up in Goose Creek.
Okay, Goose Creek.
We were from Goose Creek, yeah.
I played y'all's soccer team.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, we are also military kids, so in case you didn't know that.
I think Mandy mentioned that, and I could tell from the personalities because y'all are just like me and my brother. He just doesn't live here. He's still in the army, actually. My God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
He's doing a full 20, so
Right.
did 6 and got out, and then I was like, I want to be a bodybuilder. I don't know why I was so obsessed with it, but yeah. So pretty boring life, honestly. Did a couple of cool things here and there, but writing was always a huge thing. But yeah, didn't ever publish. One of the books that I wrote, one of the first big ones, I did get tattooed on me, but I never published it because something about me just said, don't do it. You're not ready yet. Mm-hmm. You're not fully mature yet. You're not, and
you got the imposter syndrome.
I put so much. So y'all have seen South Park, like when they write the book and it's so gross, people are puking, but they sell it to Penguin Publishing.
Yeah,
that's how I was writing this book.
Okay,
and it was over the top graphic and over the top sexual when it was sexual, over the top drunken mess when it was a drunken mess, over the top slapstick, and it was all military special operations stuff. The whole time. So that didn't feel right. I was like, I don't want to, publish a book about all these different kinds of groups and stuff doing this, but I'll publish a book about my experience or something. And so that's my redo for that I'll actually do, and I'll call it St. Michael Protect Us also, because that's just a slogan for like the airborne. It's just St. Michael. So you put it on the back of pendants and stuff, little quotation.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I got it tattooed on my ribs. And it's just a corny, cheesy, wannabe gangsta army guy tattoo, gangster script, you know.
That's the Army Airborne, not the Air Force. You were saying?
Yeah, army.
Oh, okay, yeah. We a lot of the military housing that we were in, we had like it was like mixed. So we had a lot of like Marine dudes, like Marine families. We had a lot of Navy families, a lot of Army families.
Yeah.
But you didn't have a lot of Air Force families because I didn't go to school with a lot of Air Force kids because same-sex marriages don't traditionally produce children.
Oh man, dude, Air Force bases are nice. I'll say that much.
I mean, the craziest thing about the Air Force is that they had the audacity to call the movie Top Gun when everybody is so obviously a bottom in that movie. They're all
bottom gun.
Nice.
How long did you have that loaded up and waiting for it?
I've been telling that joke for 27 years.
I have you seen the new one?
Yes.
It was so funny that like the movie was, we're gonna take out these Iranian nuclear bunker storage facilities, and then it's like a few years later, we just bombed these Iranian nuclear bunker storage facilities. And I'm like,
that wasn't a foreshadow, was it?
I'm like, are you fucking jerking me off again?
Yeah.
Oh god!
Did they fly between the mountains like they did in the movie and like fucking have to?
Yeah.
The unrealistic shit. Yeah.
Yeah. He drove a fucking B2.
Yeah.
That was a completely different operation, but yeah.
Bottom gun. That would. Yeah. That's the one you have to go look at behind the curtain, right? At the movie store, you have to go behind.
Yeah. There you go.
How many words is your first book?
The words?
Do you know? Yeah.
Holy shit! Words.
I mean,
it's pretty.
Well, so it's kind of funny because we're being facetious when we use the word book, because like the book itself is all 5 volumes together, and it has the skeleton key. So the hardcover, we're looking at 496 pages.
Yep.
I have no idea how many words that would be. And there's a couple of redactions in there too, which is really funny. There's redactions. You see that we put the redactions in the we built in the redactions because we're absolutely hilarious. The skeleton key is awesome.
Did you have to re-upload the PDF any?
I did do one because one of our fans, Amanda, mother, sorry, she's in there. Mother Panda Bear Confused Mom asked me to change something, so I did change one, and I re-uploaded it into the final version, but I haven't put it into the original version yet. But mostly, if you send it to us, it's an art project, honestly, right? It's not like it's not a book per se. Like there's a through line where there's continuation stories, people who always contribute, kind of thing, but there's no rules to what we do, so I try to keep a through line with like some of my characters, but overall it's just an art project where we invite people, hey, let's put some stuff out and put it out into the world, so yeah. As far as words, no, I haven't keep track of words, but I mean, I don't really think that numbers are real, so like all numbers are always like ironic to me. You know what I mean? They're just metaphors and like silly little things that we project onto things. You know what I mean? Like, is this really 496 pages? I mean, what the fuck does a page mean? What the fuck does 496 mean? There's one page, and then you flip to the next one, then you flip to the next one, then you flip to the next one. They just have to be between, a couple. With
Witch Doctor, I had a soft copy that was 5x8, right? I wanted it to be different. I wanted it to be something you could cram in your purse or your little fanny pack, for all my bodybuilder buddies. Just playing. But they take it to the gym, motherfucker. But but for the hard copy, they had a page limit. they were like, "Oh no, you got too many," and I was like, "Shit!" So I did 6x9 for that, but it matches that as well. Now it's fun. I had a couple of different issues with this as well, but I wanted to make this as cheap as I could because Secundus, the hard copy, I have color paper like y'all have.
Yeah.
Makes it so much more expensive than if it's black
Yes.
and white. Now, it's got pictures of me when I was doing the modeling bullshit. It's got like an autobiography mixed in with all these random research articles on entheogens and religion and bullshit, whatever, you know. The one that you'll really want will be part 2. Part 2 will be the one that has everything that we talked about in the live streams on paper for that finger to source that everybody wants in a book somewhere. You know, everybody whenever you write a book, I don't know about y'all, at least for me, maybe y'all can tell me how y'all feel. When I write a book that I wish already existed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah.
How long have you been writing, man?
Our first one came out.
First one came out in August of 2023.
No,
September
11th.
2023.
September 11th.
September 11th of 2023. That's our inside joke.
Did either one of y'all ever write like short stories or anything like
that?
Yeah,
I always wrote crazy shit. He's always just wrote like diatribes, you know, like joke wise.
I've done a little of that. Yeah.
I bet you have. Yeah, you've never been in a car with him for 2 hours where he tells the same joke that takes 2 hours to tell the joke and ends with a absolute ridiculous punchline that everyone in the car. Just imagine we're driving from I think we were driving from a venue.
I had a buddy named Hargrove, just like Mandy.
Yeah,
he had the same exact intellect and wit level, where he would set you up for 30 minutes,
bro. That's this shit right here.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Dude,
he does it to me still. I'm his original. If anyone wants to know, I'm his original person. He would do that to. He would do this to me and just lead me, and I'd sit there like, oh yeah, what's going? And I'd just go, and then eventually he'd hit me with some fucking stupid line at the end. I go, what the fuck? That was the whole point of what you just said? Like,
I don't know if I was ever as good as he would have been at it, but I would do that to my brother a lot. Now, sometimes it was really funny, and sometimes it wasn't. But me and my brother were really good at coming up with like, so I don't know, we would be so stupid. We would come up with things like, you know how it's like, you're growing up, you're like 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever. Y'all are up till like 2 in the morning. You're listening to music on a CD player. Back in the day, you know, like you're thinking of different ideas for like music videos for the songs you're listening to. And it makes you think of like a movie idea. And so you think of this whole skit, this whole script and everything. And so, one day I was like, okay, well, I'm going to write what I'm thinking, you know? So
absolutely.
There was a movie called The Faculty. I think everybody remembers. Josh Hartnett, Elijah Wood, Usher, of all the things he ever did was this movie, right?
Yeah.
And it was like sponsored by Tommy Hilfiger. Like, how the fuck does that happen? It's such a weird thing, you know what I'm saying?
It is weird. Yeah.
You got free jeans when you were at the movie. But anyway, for some reason I was obsessed with that movie. I had never seen it before, so I was old enough now to watch movies like that. So I was like, oh cool, let me check this out. And I don't know, something about the aliens taking over guys. I was like, what if that happened with my friends? So I wrote the whole movie, The Faculty, and I called it The Staff, with my friends as the characters. They changed what happened and stuff.
I love it. Yeah.
And it was all handwritten, pretty much next to a buddy. You know, like Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, there's a joke that I forgot which one did all the work and the other one was just
Matt Damon did.
Right. Okay.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. What was it? So I wrote it. My friend Trevor was right there. as laughing references for the jokes I was making. Like, hey, does this sound funny? Blah, 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 blah. He'd be like, yeah, that's funny as shit. Or he'd be like, nah. Something like that's kind of how he contributed. So I wrote that in full, the whole shit, start to finish, in a composition book. It was like a thing, and then we would pass it around.
One of the black and white cow-looking books.
Yep.
Oh God, love
Yep.
it.
One of those front to back. It was like so professional to be so shit. But it was like a guy that really wanted to make it start to finish. You know, I started to. I mean, I didn't always finish everything, but when I wanted to finish something, I wanted it to at least be good enough to kind of hold its own if I ever showed anyone. So, like, for example, I wasn't going to get on a bodybuilding stage till I looked good enough to where I'd be getting like a pro card soon. You know, like, not some guys get on stage before they're really ready, and it is embarrassing as fuck. It just doesn't look right. You know, I mean, come on. If you're not big enough and you're just up there getting a little participation trophy, your wife is so embarrassed. You're not the guy. You're just not that guy. You know, it's okay. You could be one day, but just not yet. So, I mean, I waited like 10 fucking years before I would do stuff. So same thing with the book. You know, I waited like 38 now. So I've been writing since, when was 8th grade? How old are we then? What, 13, 14?
Yeah, 13.
Yeah.
24 years. No. What's he, 14? 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in a band since I was 13. I've been doing like, movies and skits and comedy and stuff. One of the first comedy bits that I filmed, it was a sketch. It was the when was it? Halloween 2021. So right after 9/11, we filmed it. It was me and my buddy Pat. We called it improvised bombers. So what we did was we made these little pipe bombs. We dressed up as terrorists. We made these little pipe bombs, and the bit was like every time somebody suggested, "Oh, what do we put in the little pipe bomb?" We yes and it. So it was improvised bomber. So we were yes anding what we put into the bomb, right? And then we went around town, being little terrorists and stuff. Exactly. So we were yes-anding our pipe bombs, dude. We were improvised bombers. It was absolutely hilarious, dude. And like looking back on it now, it was probably a bit too much to do the bit in brown face. It didn't age well, but I was 13. What do I know? It was you live and you learn.
Well, so I wanted to tell you this. We kind of put this together last minute, but I was cleaning up my studio and listening to Secundus. We made it to chapter 7, by the way.
Yeah, we were up here cleaning the studio listening to it,
I put it on Speechify. That's not an ad, but yeah. Dude, that's right up my shit. I love the Spartacus era, that it's around that time, right? It's got to be pretty close to the gladiator era, that stuff.
So Spartacus, I'm so glad you asked that. Not to steal your mic a whole bit, but the Spartacus was a little bit before.
Right. Yeah.
So envision, where this book takes place. They've already had a gigantic rebellion from gladiators once in their past.
Right.
And it's been about 100 years, give or take, a little bit. Yeah, yeah. But that's pretty much that's the time frame. It's set in Capua.
Capua, which is also, if you ever watched the Spartacus series with the guy who died, right, from bone cancer from like 2011 or 12, I think.
No.
You never watched that? Get the fuck out of here.
I have. Even recently, my wife turned it on, and I was like, oh, this is badass. And then she was like, yeah, the guy died. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah,
and then, like, even Tiger Shark, I think, said, like, yeah, dude, the dude freaking had a thing. And I was like, oh, my God, man. He was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, it was a super badass series. I loved it. It was one of my favorites.
I never watched it back in the day when it first came out.
I had DVDs of it. I was upset. I thought it was maybe 2010, 11, 12. I don't. You could Google it, but
you have to Google
it. I don't know how old you guys are exactly, and I honestly don't know which one's older between the two of y'all.
We always, that's a going joke. So which one do you think is older? Let's do that.
I think you're the oldest and Mandy's the younger brother.
Technically, yes.
Technically.
But if you swap, like I have a full head of hair, he's got no hair on top. I can't grow a beard for a fucking life of me. So, you know,
So my brother's the same way.
Yeah, I can't. I have like patches. I can't do it.
My brother got all the Asian genes.
Yeah.
We're not Asian, but he has the Irish wisp hair on his legs.
Wow.
Like nothing there, like no armpit hair. And like there's a couple of little prickles. I took copious amounts of steroids, so I'm gonna have the beard either way because of that. So that's just being right up front.
So you're telling me I should take opiates?
Steroids.
I mean steroids.
Yeah.
Steroids.
Copious.
Copiates.
Yeah, no. Spartacus: Gods of the Arena was 2011.
Well, did y'all watch Gladiator growing up?
Yes.
Okay, Gladiator was one of those movies that came out. My dad's a writer. Okay, my dad is William A. Blackman. He is the author of The Tribulation Cycle, The Feather Keeper, and The Devil Whispered in My Ear. And Isaiah's Rest. He's sold a bunch of books. He's published a bunch of books. But I grew up watching that. So like me sitting in here, tick, 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 just imagining me walking to school, passing by my dad in a room just like this in the front of my house, writing a book every morning before I'd be leaving for school, or Saturday morning, wake up, walk downstairs, mom's cooking food, dad's typing a book. He might have a gigantic stack of papers from printing it out and like going through it one by one and editing it for mom. And that was my childhood. We had like a library, at least it seemed like it to me, little 6th grader, 7th grader, whatever. It felt like that. Now, y'all are from Charleston. Y'all will have heard of, y'all have Charleston School of the Arts.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Rawlings School of the Arts in summer. Yeah. So I went there from 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. And I majored in visual art, probably because I'm one of the dumb ones. So I would have been like great at probably creative writing, but I probably would have missed the mark just barely, for getting in for creative writing, So I managed to get in for art and did learn a lot about like the art teachers. I remember her saying one time, I think it was honestly in 5th grade, her saying that we wouldn't be able to see the Greek stuff till we were in college.
Oh.
Because it was so gross. And that was one thing she was always having to look and be careful, because we would have an assignment. Like, hey, y'all have to go home. You got to paint me your favorite picture. You have to draw it with, this week you're doing colored pencils. But, art school colored pencils is like, it's, I don't know, really talented kids in these courses. I was probably a 6.5 out of 10 compared to the kids there.
6'7"?
6'7"?
6'7"?
Yep. 6'7". Yep. I'd say a 70. Yeah. 70%. I mean, I had good grades, but you know what I mean? Like, as far as like the best of all y'all, how do y'all stack up? There was always these really big geniuses. It's like you had all the ADD, ADHD, and all the autistic kids and the geniuses.
Right. Yeah.
So anybody that wasn't just a normal ass kid went to this school.
Right.
Tested in. Typically, autistic kids will test very good at some stuff, as long as it's not, obviously, you need a completely different kind of route in life type.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's functional, but yeah, and there was a lot of things that you learned there. You cross train. You take different music. You take stand-up bass. I took tuba and stand-up bass, and you still take theater. You still take creative writing. But
I heard you play a mean rusty trombone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Steamers. No, I do play guitar. I haven't played it forever. I have a really nice Stevie Vai signature series in my room, but yeah, my wife bought it for me. It's really, really badass. It's got blue flowers on it, but I never play anymore, and it's a shame. I was going to start doing some of that, but I don't know how to put it. There's so much that goes into making the music, and I made my first album in high school, and I've never actually completed making a song again for real. You know, I've done AI stuff, and I've written lyrics like for the AI songs, and I tried to tell it like, hey, I want you to have alternating time signatures, okay? So I want you to have 2/3, 2/2, back to 4/4, you know, but I want you to have it for this many, you know, dances, bars, or whatever it's, you know, whatever I try to word in there to make it do it. And it actually did do it.
It did do it?
Yeah.
Wow, you were able to tool it, huh?
Yeah.
Like, some tool shit, huh?
Yes.
That's interesting. Because normally we're using Suno, or do you remember which one?
I would have to freaking look it up. I made them last September or October.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I was yeah.
No, normally it does not like doing stuff like that. It wants cookie cutter shit, and you know.
I was surprised at how good some of it turned out.
Yeah.
It really sounded. I did not pay with DistroKid. I did not pay to boost it to get that better, higher, louder sound that people don't get, because I don't know. I guess they charge more just to, because they know that everybody's gonna hate it when it's not full volume.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all know what I'm talking about?
It's called mastering. Yeah. If you ever need a person to master, little, you know, promotion here. I've been mastering for 15 years. So
well, what I do want to see happen is there are people that are musicians in this world, right? And we have a good buddy of mine that can actually come on in a little bit too. That is a movie producer.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get people kind of together here. Even though we've been having some battle royales, I kind of want to get Chase and Gnostic Informant together and be like, all right, look, Chase has got something that we haven't been telling people about. We've already met together online. We've had some table readings. I can't say much more than that.
Sure.
But it's absolutely fucking awesome. And I wrote one of the things too. And would write more and more and more. And our buddy Lord Cameron would be perfect, along with y'all, for doing the soundtrack.
Well, it's one of my bucket list checklist things. I have it over there somewhere. Is to score a movie. Literally to score a movie is one of my favorite things in the world.
Lord Cameron and I
want him to jump on before we're done tonight. Is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
The Lord Cameron and I happen to have a band together called the Alabastrums.
He's told me about it some.
Dude, it's pretty great, man. We got a couple music videos out. We got a couple singles. We're working on some new stuff right now. Once he can,
we have some merch in my store.
Oh yeah, Johnny, can you pull up the merch store just so everybody can see the logo to the Alabastrums?
Some stuff I'll show too after y'all.
That was funny when I was working yesterday and I pulled up YouTube to. Then I pulled up YouTube and y'all were talking about your merch store, and you pulled up right at the time was when when you talked about me. I was like, oh shit, that's hilarious! Like you're showing your merch of my face, and I just popped in. I was like, oh shit, he's got my face on a t-shirt. It's like super ginger beard too, which is pretty funny.
I was telling the crowd, I was like, we would have to, I was like, even if this was Mandy's a movie about him, I was like, somehow in my brain's algorithm, we have to make him more red-haired than he already is. So even casting him for his own movie, we still have to dye his hair red, like red.
Oh yeah, dude, that's classic stagecraft, man. I would absolutely be a ginger on screen.
You know,
there you go, the Alabastrums hoodie. Check this out.
He's a dead ass blonde though.
This is the logo for the Alabastrums.
Zoom in on that.
Was he a blonde?
Yes.
Check that out.
I didn't know that.
So that's the Alabastrums logo right there. Can you see that? Check out that hoodie. That beautiful made in USA merch right there.
That's actually pretty freaking funny.
Yep. So it's the triple headed rooster right there.
All right. So first of all, y'all could always fly here and do some open mic nights together. But the Alabastrums, these need to be for sale because he goes live like every week.
Oh, they're for sale on our
this is
website.
legit.
It's $40 shirt, and it's the uncut series.
Uncut. This is with the hood.
Yeah. So the hood is uncut, and then we have the crew neck, and it's
a crew neck,
and it's called cut.
Cut.
Like
There she
circumcised
is.
and uncircumcised.
Hey, she's cut.
Look at that. So we've got the cut and the uncut, depending on how you fancy your alabastrums. Check that out.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah, our band's got some merch right there.
Yo, I just have some random pictures, like just artwork I like, like on some pictures, like on some shirts and stuff. That's about it. And I mean, I like some of the. I don't know if everybody's really a big fan of some of the artwork that I have. I mean, I would love to put like the Nianiscos on a shirt, just
You
because,
should.
buddy. Yeah, like the Antonius
should.
Niger and the little figurine, the Nianiscos figure, anything like that. At this point, it's comical. Like it, a scene dome.
Have you seen
Or,
this? Bong. My wife got this at a flea market in Hawaii, and it's a man in a barrel with a giant
Bang!
hog.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, it's so
Of course,
weird.
So it's Diogenes,
Yeah.
Dionysus,
Yeah.
Diogenes, Dionysus.
Big dong.
Priapus.
Well, Priapus was a dwarf. So if it was a dwarf, then it would be Priapus. But don't get me started on dwarves. We'll talk about the dwarves on your show. This is your time. Your book.
We do have to. Yeah. So all the way. So we were saying, So this is set back in the golden years. All right. So ancient Rome. So all of y'all go watch Spartacus. If you haven't watched it in a while, go get familiar. Go watch the man ding dongs all slapping around, all oiled up and glistening in the sun.
Oh yeah.
My kind of night. You know what I'm saying? So go watch Spartacus, and that'll kind of give you an idea where this is, just to kind of help paint the picture of where I'm trying to push you. Ironically, it's also the same goddamn time as Jesus the Christ. So that's going to also tell you the time period this is.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this kid. He's the son of this guy named Antonius Niger Athetes. He's this acclaimed warrior, this Spectraloris, this former legionnaire, this really hardcore guy. So there's this big story to Antonius that we'll get into eventually, but for now, he's walking to the arena with his two boys. He's got a 7-year-old Secundus, and then there's a 9.5-year-old named Marcus. And he's one of the head instructors at this school. He's about to go, and they're about to go to the actual games for the first time with the boys. He walks up and he sees this guy named Drusus. He's one of the gladiators. And, Antonius says, Drusus, and he turns around and he sees the two kiddos. And, he kneels down and he talks to them. And he's like, hey, so you're going to learn a lot today. It's like, make sure you watch. Some lessons are learned too late. So they go to the arena and whatnot. And obviously, everyone's screaming. Y'all have seen Gladiator. Y'all seen. And if you haven't seen that in a while, that's also a good one to watch as well. Slightly different time period, but that is Marcus Aurelius for everyone that wants to see those and share those memes on Instagram or those little motivational things and whatnot. So he sees his first gladiator kill at 7 years old. It's this kind of thing was everywhere anyway. The average person nowadays probably doesn't realize just how much death there was every day, everywhere. But it's 2026, and I'm drawing this new classics genre of stuff, and now we got everybody else involved in writing their own books too, making these new classics genres and this modern day Greek renditions of stuff being done or going back in time and retelling stories a different way, just to kind of not to throw a wrench in the thing, but just to bring back something that's like, hey, don't forget there's something else. People don't they forget about this every once in a while. But he's exposed to that, and he ends up growing up pretty much in the arena with all these flipping gladiators, seeing them die every freaking week, they belong to other rich rulers, and they're coming to the gladiator school, and they're battling their guys that belong to the schoolhouse and other rich rulers that have, women, eunuchs, and all the fixings. The greasy Persian guy with the big fat belly. It's like, rub this oil on me, boy. That kind of stuff. It fully engulfed at the time. And Secundus, him and his brother, they kind of spar each other with the wooden swords. They end up becoming full-grown men, and it being Antonius, who's a brutal as shit, like they're sparring with these gladiators pretty much as body doubles, dummies, mannequins for them.
Right.
And Secundus is a big motherfucker. He's like 6'2", corn-fed country boy. And his brother Marcus a little more like an Achilles type. Quick, swift-footed. And this other one's like I guess you could say Secundus is more like there was this big ass bodybuilder in the movie Gladiator. That was like, he was like a famous bodybuilder that was also in Beer Fest. Kind of like that. He's a big old dude, right? So he's great for some of these gladiators are only so big, so like that's great to have somebody bigger.
It's like a big Ajax and a little Ajax from Homer.
Yeah.
Big Ajax and little Ajax.
And they're able to go full force. Then there's wrestling too. There's a backstory to that also with Antonius that nobody really knows yet, but the book will come out in a little while. I'll tell you more about that in a second. So, Secundus, as you can imagine, kind of like myself, there's a lot of things about this book that are probably a lot like myself with Secundus anyway. But there was nothing else he was going to do. He was going to go into the army. You grow up in a freaking gladiator school environment. That's all that your whole family knows. Every male since the beginning of time has been a soldier. That's just what you're going to do. So his brother turns 17, joins the freaking army, goes off. And then it's just him, it's him going to the arena every day with his dad. And it's different, like his brother Marcus is gone. It's like, what the fuck is all this about?
Secundus is the mule, right? That's what you called him? Is his nickname?
Yeah. He gets a nickname called the Mule. He would do everything. It's like, hey, go get that water and stuff, like this heavy ass jugs of water. He'd bring them over, trying to show off how strong he was all the time.
Right.
Just trying to impress his dad, trying to impress the gladiators, his brother, and his brother wasn't really ever competing with him, but Secundus was, like trying to keep up, trying to be, whatever. And so Marcus, he gets recruited in, and he ends up being put with kind of a special little unit. He's able to write, thanks to their dad. Their dad showed him how to write growing up, just basic stuff, not like full-blown scribes and whatnot, but they're gonna push him through to learn more of that, more writing. They're doing espionage. They're doing, different things, messenger courier details, and you have different kinds of jobs in the army, right?
Right.
And so this is what he was going to be getting into because he could write, and he could transcribe, he could read, he could tell, what the orders say, and stuff. So big advantage, for sure. Now Secundus turned 17 and he goes in the army. From the thumbnail that y'all saw before we went live tonight, it says from Dacia to Jerusalem, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that. He gets stationed in Dacia. Dacia is modern day Romania. I'm a huge Dracula fan, so I wanted to use Romania, and I wanted to save places like Germania and Gaul. I wanted to save some other hot spots, like y'all remember in the big gladiator in the movie Gladiator with the face shield.
Oh yeah, yep.
Tigris from Gaul.
Gaul, yeah,
right?
Which is France, right?
Yep, which is France.
Oh, look at you, Johnny. Dang.
Now, that is all important, but y'all will all figure out why kind of as the book progresses. Now, there will be sequels to this, but I wanted to release a prequel next because the prequel kind of takes a little bit of heat off of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because the prequel doesn't have to line up with anything that was in history. I mean, it does for like the battles and stuff for sure, but like not as much. It's not as reliant on different dates and stuff to build a cool story. And I'm able to do a lot more with prequels too. Kind of think about like Lord of the Rings. You know, I don't know if he wrote The Shire first and then The Lord of the Rings, or if he wrote The Lord of the Rings and then The Shire.
Yeah, I mean, I as a person who writes things and describes stuff, I would say he probably wrote some of the Lord of the Rings and then was like, "Fuck, how do we tell the story before this? In case anyone asks, let me write that." I bet halfway through he had. What's that?
It was at least in his head.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Because he had to think of all of that as he wrote,
yeah.
and that is true too. Because even writing this, you kind of already write a lot. Even in this, you hear a little bit about what his dad did do,
right?
In the military,
Right.
So he goes to Dacia, and it's just blood and guts. It's absolutely wild. He loses people, and war sucks, and they don't really talk about that when it comes to the movies from these time periods. They never talk about the freaking PTSD.
Well, we barely talk about it now.
Right.
It's there. We know the word. We know the term. Used to be called shell shock. Now it's still just barely there. We don't treat it the way it should be treated. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, I was kind of, so PTSD is really common, especially like a lot of the guys like myself and other like war veterans and stuff. We're in situations where it definitely gives you those symptoms for sure. And some people try to shy away from it, but it is something that kind of creeps back in your life, even if you're pretty good when you get out. You can get out. And you can, like me, I got out and went straight into like a career and did really good at it and stuff. But I still had all these issues, bro.
Right.
I tell a little bit of that in Witch Doctor Christianity. I describe what my life was like and some of the stuff that I guess gave me some of that, but how I got rid of it too. I describe that in the book. But anyway, Secundus, he is in Dacia. Doing his thing, and then he ends up getting stationed. And I'm going to kind of wrap up this particular preview after this next statement because I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah.
But he, after being in really intense areas and stuff, especially if you were like known for some valorous acts and whatnot, sometimes you would get stationed, or just if you had lost your mind or whatever, you could get stationed in places that weren't necessarily on the front lines. People didn't want to do that. People didn't want to be a little bitch. They didn't want to be sent to the back. They didn't want to be sent to this or that. They wanted to be in the fight. They wanted to, and sometimes people wanted to. But either way, he gets stationed after being in Dacia for a while. He gets stationed in Galilee. And as Josephus says, there were many wandering priests in Galilee. Some caused disturbances. So he's stationed in Galilee. Now, in Galilee, I will say this one thing. There's a crew of Romans with him. In this book, a bunch of my friends from the YouTube channel that I've made that goes live and does live research, and we look up Jewish burial grounds with opium and cannabis in them, blah, 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 blah. Research this, research that, right? They are actually characters in this book. I based some of the different Romans on those characters. And one in particular, people may not know him, but his name is Dane Darklight. And he's been on my show one time. But he is a dude that lives off grid in Arkansas that has the channel that he's made like hundreds of videos. And he's like, I can't get anybody to watch my shit, man. So I was like, I'm going to put your stuff in my book. So he always says things like, The darkest dark and the lightest light, or something like that.
Oh, very Jedi.
Right. Yeah. And so I named his character Publius Septimus,
Nice.
and he's the guy in charge of the armory in Galilee, pretty much, and the different patrol routes and stuff like that. And his brain is fried. It just been 10 years of war. He's fucking gone. So I had a lot of fun with that. There's another guy, Lord Cameron. He is Hadris.
Hadris.
You'll get there in the book. Yeah, you'll get to Hadris. And you'll be like, oh, that's Lord Cameron. Okay. And there's a couple of things about Hadris that'll be a dead giveaway, But yeah. So stuff like that I wanted to do because the community that everybody is in and around here kind of knows everyone by proxy some.
Yeah.
So you find out that like, oh, Tiger Shark and Chase are like Felix and Varro. Okay, cool. So when you get there, you're like, oh, that must be Tiger Shark, and this one must be Chase, or whichever.
Yeah.
And there will be a Mandy. There could even end up being a Mandy and a Scobie. There'll be different names. It'll be like a set of brothers. I'm already seeing it. I'm already seeing this in the brain, like a set of brothers that you got to get past to get. So, I don't know. I can already see. It would be a comic relief part where like you're trying to get somewhere, but they're asking you questions.
You could do it as a in Plato's. I think it's in the Symposium. They have that part where the two sophists initiate Socrates into a cult. And it's really, really funny. And at one point they just start like babbling in like baby language, like ba 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 goo goo ga ga ba 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 ba, and like Socrates is all about it. He's like, oh my god, this is the best shit ever. Oh my god, you guys are so good. And it's like Plato intended it as being a satire against eristics, but it turns out it's like one of the best parts of the entire thing. It's like Socrates being initiated, and that's ultimately what leads to his fucking his having to drink the hemlock is because he got initiated into this cult by two brothers. So if you're looking, if there's a part where you need two sophist brothers to initiate one of your people, you have a model, and then two brothers you can kind of parody.
Not to like diatribe too far, but like later in, I think it's Timaeus, one of the characters can't make it to the whatever they call it, like it's kind of like a theater. They're like, where's the other guy? I was like, oh, he can't make it. Well, what happened? And it's like, well, he's really busy, or like basically he's either like fucking prostitutes or he's hungover, and they don't tell you which one it is. So like he's just like, he just can't make it, like, and they kind of like allude to like, oh, he might be busy with some people, or oh, he probably drank too much yesterday. Like,
right.
It's really funny. Like these side stories that just pierce through in Plato's stories that nobody ever talks about. All they care about is the goddamn Atlantis, which isn't real, which is like fucking 4 pages of the whole. It's so dumb. Anyways.
Well, my favorite part about the Symposium is the last 3 characters of it.
Oh,
which are Aristophanes.
Yes.
And then one of the dramatic writers who taps out. And
does he leave, you mean?
So it's comedy, drama, and philosophy. They're the last 3 characters that are standing.
Yeah.
At the Symposium. They make it through everybody else over the course of the time taps out.
Yeah.
Right. But the last 3 people that are standing are comedy, drama, and philosophy. So it's a triad that's formed at the end there.
Gnarly.
Most people don't notice that because they haven't actually read the book, and they're definitely not going to make it all the way to the end. All right, come on now. Who actually read the fucking end of it and knows that Aristophanes, for some reason, Aristophanes is one of the last characters there. Who knows why Aristophanes?
Why would Aristophanes?
Why would Aristophanes, of all people, be one of the last people during the drinking party?
Have you ever read it physically, like in a book, Plato?
In high school, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
My wife's a librarian. Well, they didn't make us in our high school. So
I read it.
I didn't. So I was in the dumb classes, so
We had to read Odyssey too,
well, that must have been nice.
and we got to watch it. The one with oh god, it was kind of like a B flick. It was Vanessa Williams was in it. That singer from back in the day.
Okay.
She was, I think one of the was she Tybo? I can't remember now. Or no, I can't remember anymore. What I want to do now, keeping the Greek thing going. There's besides the stuff that we got going on with our dude, I did want to rewrite one of the. You know how there's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
Then there's other Draculas.
Yeah.
Then there's Nosferatu, and then there's all these others. So I wanted to redo one of the old ones, one of the old classics, but I'm not sure exactly which one. There's one I have picked out. I'm not going to say it, but there's one I have picked out. And another buddy of mine is working on a contemporary version of a classic from a completely different perspective. It's really, really cool. The angle that he's kind of thought about and whatnot. But, I don't know. Right? It's not easy for everybody. For me, the ideas come real fast. I don't know if they're ever good or not, but sometimes I will. They'll just start.
That's exactly how I feel, though. Literally, they come out of nowhere, and if I don't put them down right away, they get lost.
I was working on a parody of the Gospel of Mark where he was running around with a bunch of dwarves, and it just turned out that's actually the truth. It turns out that's what the book says. What the hell do I know? Just had to learn how to read. No, just had to learn how to read Greek.
Well,
it's Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, dude. That's the story. It's just a retelling it.
I have a story that's based on Mark, but it's just one snippet of Mark, really,
Which snippet?
You did see the trailer for the Gospel, the Book of Thomas?
No.
The Carpenter's Son?
Okay.
No.
So
it's a movie?
There's a movie coming out. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah. It's called The Carpenter's Son with Nicolas Cage. He plays Thomas. He plays not Thomas. It's the Book of Thomas. Sorry, he plays Joseph. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's supposedly the Book of Thomas. That's what it is. Sorry. So yeah, I heard about it and I saw the preview for it. It's good. It looks good. It looks definitely like it'll piss off some people.
Yeah.
I tried to do something with Secundus where I tried to make it like, how do I say this? You could be a Christian and an atheist and still like the book. I tried something interesting with this.
Didn't the Greeks say that the Christians were atheists?
Yes.
Yeah, they did.
Or the Jews did too.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
it's all Greek. It's all Greek to me. It's just a bunch of gibberish and squiggly lines on a piece of paper.
Way. Everyone would have been in a way, yeah, because it was what they were doing. That it was also the, that was the issue. It was like, hey, some of y'all are kind of not cool right now. Y'all not being so chill. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So that's why they write the damn letters. That's why you write letters to Corinth. That's why you write letters. It's like, hey, don't do that anymore because we're learned people. And and that's it. You have the letters of Paul. Then you have.
I mean, Paul's cool, but like I'm way more interested in Josephus Paulina because she really had that dog in her.
Josephus Paulina. I don't know.
Yeah. That's an Anubis joke. That's a really, 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 really deep Josephus joke.
Josephus Paulina.
Yeah. Well, I'll give the I'll break down the joke. Okay. So, the Testimonium Flavianum, where Josephus is the one that all the Christians cite and say, "Oh, this is actually Josephus said that Jesus existed." The very next, and then in the very next passage it says, "And then there was another calamity," and then it goes on to tell this story about a dude banging his wife or something like that while dressed up with a dog mask of Anubis, and he calls
Oh.
himself Anubis, and he bangs his wife doggy style.
Eyes
It's a
wide
doggy
shut.
style joke right after the testimony of Flaviana, and nobody sees it. I'm like, Paulina, she's got that dog in her, dude. It's right there. Josephus was saying that shit thousands of
Yeah, I
years
get it.
ago, and it's funny as hell. She
No, I-
bangs Anubis, dude, doggy style. Takes back shots, dude. Paulina.
So I get you now for sure. I had somebody bring that up the other day. They were like, "Hey, didn't Josephus talk about Jesus?" I was like, "Yeah, it was just like like 80 years afterwards."
That's a long time.
And a lot of people
Yeah,
think
like
that,
the Bible's already out.
yeah, and like the way that it's written, it doesn't look like it's like it seems like it's totally out of context, that one little line that says Jesus, but the rest of you take that out, you go, oh, it's like totally makes sense. And then some lady gets banged by a dude wearing a dog mask. All right, like what the fuck's going on, Josephus?
Yeah.
And I don't understand why more people don't talk about Paulina getting banged by Anubis. It's right there, right next to Jesus.
There's a lot of things that I don't know why people don't talk about them more. But I've done the
Solomon had
best I
1,000
can.
wives.
for sure. I'm streaming this to my channel now. I just now clicked it over. I didn't know I could do that to this now.
I actually didn't know I
we're
could.
simulcasting right now.
I didn't know you could do that until Snappy told me the other day, and I forgot to do it the other night. So
Yeah.
We're simulcasting.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Too.
How's it going, world? Y'all missed my diatribe at the beginning and the diatribe for the last 1 hour and 21 minutes. But
Tiger Shark says Solomon had 1,000 wives. Come on, people.
Come on, people.
42 kids were killed by a bear of making fun of a bald guy. Jeez,
baldy.
Bring him on.
I love Tiger Shark.
All right. Hey, Tiger, I'm going to send you the link.
Yeah, send the invites to
We're all
everybody.
here.
Dude.
Might as
Bring
well
him,
do it.
bring
Yeah,
him
we got
up.
a little bit of time.
You know, it was fun seeing Tiger Shark butcher my theory of the dwarf in Mark 14:51-52, and it was so Witch Doctor went on with Cross Bible and Neil the other night, and brought on Chase and Witch and Tiger Shark, Tiger Shark gave like looking back on it, I'm like, oh my god, he's got most of the points there, but like they're just not in the right order and they're not like presented properly. Like I was like, it's a more nuanced theory than that. Like it's actually grounded in.
I'm probably sure that's more on you than on Tiger Shark.
But and he did a decent job. He's like, look, like it's comedy, like blah blah blah.
The play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mark was a stage play.
Mark was a
comedy.
Hey, who is the scholar that you said wrote a book? Something Smith. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump on you.
No, you're good.
That's funny. He said Neil threw that as a curveball. So this is a thing that me and Neil have been talking about as like counter. It's an opposing theory using exactly the same methodology and standards and techniques that Amon is using to justify the Neoniskos being the prepubescent boy. I'm going, okay, according to your exact same logic, it could be a dwarf, and I have actual archaeological evidence of an infibulated dwarf. You know what I mean? Like I have actual fucking vase paintings of infibulated dwarves in gardens with Dionysus. But Amon doesn't have prepubescent boys with things tied around with medicated bandages, right? He doesn't have that, but I do. I have actual archaeological evidence of infibulated Dionysian dwarves, right? Like, and this is stuff that like, it's almost consensus, dude. Like almost consensus that if you see Dionysus, you should expect to see infibulated Dionysian dwarves, right? Infibulation is tying off your foreskin to cover your penis head because it was looked at as gross. And the technique that they used to call this was they would tie a bow to cover that gland, and it was called the dog tie. Anubis's dick. That's what Paulina was doing. Doggy style, dude. Oh God! What was Jesus doing in that garden at 4 a.m. with that dwarf. And why did that dwarf have a dog tie?
What up, Tiger Shark?
What up, Tiger Shark? How you doing,
What's
buddy?
up, guys?
Good to see you, man.
So anyway, the dwarf theory started off as just a joke. I was like, according to Amon's same standards, like every single thing that he's saying, it could be a dwarf, it could be a midget, right? That's stylistically characteristic and expected in the text. But the text says neoniskos, a little dude, right? A little dude, a dude, but diminutive, a diminutive dude.
Have you seen my tree in East Coast?
Yeah. Have you guys seen the tree in East Coast?
Check.
Check out the tree in East Coast. Look at the tree in East Coast. It's the little tree. It's the tree in East Coast, guys. Oh God! The tree in East Coast. It's Addis. Guys, it's Addis.
Nice, dude.
Hey man, how you doing, Tiger Shark? What's up,
Good to
bud?
see you, dude.
Doing good, man. The family's in Dallas. I'm 2 weeks into my new job and stuff like that, so it's going good though.
You're in Dallas now?
Yeah, I got a new job. It's a much better job with like a Fortune 100 company, and
Oh, nice. Good to hear
got to
that.
sell the house and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, you know how that
that's
is.
how it goes. That's how it goes.
But no,
What?
to
Yeah.
answer Mandy's thing. So Neil does that all the time whenever him and I are talking, and I kind of try to call him out on it a little bit when we were talking about it. But like, he'll just be like, "Well, you see a flower on a thing, and then you just go to drugs." And I'm like, "Dude, there's like," and then he did the same thing with that, where he's like, "I don't see how you're in alabaster and finding alabastrons in the archaeological record, and then you get a dwarf out of it." And I'm like, I'm not getting into that right now because that's a lot. There's a lot to that. And I said, it's kind of weird because you and him have talked a lot. And I think even after you've talked to him, he's agreed with you on some of your stuff, right? If not all of it.
Well, I mean, I think honestly, like up until it comes to the philology, my theory is perfectly sound, right? Like I'm not making a philological argument saying, neoniskos means dwarf because nano means dwarf, right? What I'm saying is that if like you grant Ammon and the Ammoniskos and the Ammonites, right? We need to stop calling them Ammonites because Ammonites are a really cool rock. So we should start calling them what they truly are and start calling them Ammoniskos. All right. There's Ammonites already a thing. They're Ammoniskos. They're little Ammons, right? So basically the Ammoniskos, if they actually took methodology and theory and step-by-step logic and all that seriously and followed what Ammon was saying, stylistically, every single thing that he's saying about this prepubescent boy, which is nowhere at all, anywhere in the archaeological record, the philological, the text, they don't say that it's a prepubescent boy, right? Neoniskos is never used that way, right? There's actually texts, the thing that Ammon wants to fucking do is, if you have this word side by side with this word, then they're mutually exclusive, so they can't be the same thing. Well, I have fucking Apollonius using the word neoniskos and paideia right next to each other. The word for prepubescent boy next to the word for youth or young dude or little guy. And the little guy has a fucking has a cloth wrapped around him, right? It's not like it doesn't take anything to fucking see this shit, right? So if Ammon wants to say, oh, it's diminutive, therefore it's a prepubescent boy, you go, no. If it's diminutive, therefore it's a dwarf, like the fucking the Samothrace mysteries, the mysteries of fucking Bess in Egypt, like literally every single fucking comedy that has ever been on stage, the satyrs, the fucking pygmies, all of these fucking people, all of these dwarves that have been on stage are expected when you see Dionysus, right? So if you look through the Bible and you go, well, this can't be, people are saying, oh, it's not Dionysus because of this, and that. So, well, the only argument that like actually holds any water is it's not Dionysus because there's no dwarves. You don't see any dwarves in the Bible next to Jesus. Therefore, it's not a Dionysus story. You go, no, guys. The demoniac in the cemetery, right? Remember the demoniac where he casts out the demons and then they jump over and it's all the Circe's pigs and they drowns the pigs, right? That's the same character that would have been on stage in 1451-52 that has, you know, the fibulation, and then the fibula falls off and he runs off into the garden, right? And it runs off into the woods and then reappears fully dressed in the tomb, right? So you start in a cemetery, you go to a garden, and then you end in a tomb. Anytime you see a triad like that, right, a 3-piece story arc, that is the story structure of comedy. Drama is a hill, right? It's a 5-piece hill. Comedy is a 3-piece arc. All right. So you start with a naked, howling, fucking Bacchic, cynical dwarf screaming at the top of his lungs like a satyr in the cemetery, right? And that's the same character that you see shortly after. Jesus casts out the demons, the pigs fall down, right? And then he says, go off to the Decapolis, go to the 10 cities and tell my story, right? You see that same dwarf, that same character on stage wearing only a fibula, only a dog tie wrapped around his wiener, right? Okay, so what you're seeing is naked, partially naked, and then naked for comic relief, running off with the dwarf dong flapping in the wind, right? That's even they would have recognized
even how they
the character.
got there. Even how they got there is pure comedy, like how they got on the boat and went through a fucking storm in the sea.
yeah, right. So it's all comedy, right? And then
let's go out now.
And then you see that same character, that same Dionysian dwarf, fully clothed, right? And then they roll back the stone, and that's the kid that's there, the dwarf that's there, and he goes, "Hey, it's me, the guy from the cemetery, the guy from the garden. It's me. I'm telling the Decapolis. I'm the one telling the story," right? Like, it's so fucking simple if you read the goddamn book, right? Jesus tells this character to go tell his story, right? He tells a Dionysian dwarf satyr to go tell his story. You know what Dionysian dwarf satyrs were doing? Dancing around on every single fucking stage in the 10 cities, right?
Yeah,
the
no,
10 cities.
I tried to tell
him
that,
right? It's not a crazy idea, and nothing about it other than it being a satirical, counter theory to Amon's nonsense. Right, it's actually sound fucking scholarship. Like, I'm citing actually.
I'm glad that's your theory, because people will at least look at my theory about G's with some drug juice or something for Jesus. I think they'll go for that more than the dwarf in the garden.
I mean, but here's the thing: is that, like, according to
the average person,
according to the iOS rights and the mystery stuff and the extracting it using the bandage and all of that nonsense that he fucking says it doesn't have any sound like in the text, right?
What do you mean, like the thing being like
none of that is anywhere in any of the texts. You don't find it in any of, like, these mystery right texts. It's absolute nonsense. Like, occasionally you'll find the Ganymede using using his wiener to basically do like a hula hoop act on stage.
Helicopter.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So he's doing on stage. It's mime, right?
Right.
The Ganymede, who is the cup of the ambrosia, comes out of his butt, right? All this is sound, right? On stage, the Ganymede character, for comic relief, would literally do the helicopter and have a hoop, like a hula hoop, like a ring around his wiener, and would use it to basically do like a spinning plates, like a hula hoop act using his wiener. And that's right. That's the closest you get to something wrapped around a prepubescent boy's wiener on stage. But I have infibulated dwarves everywhere. And Aristotle, Aristotle, I read Aristotle, and then I went to a bar and got my dick sucked, right? Oh God, right? That's Amon. That's Amon busting in that poor lady's mouth. So basically, Aristotle said that all children are dwarves, right? So in the iconography, right, if you see a child, it's plausible that you're actually looking at an artist rendition of a dwarf that would be on a stage play, right? Because children aren't very good actors, but dwarves can play a child character on stage, right?
Oh, yeah.
Aristotle said that dwarves are children. Children are dwarves. Read Aristotle, right? Like, and also Aristotle said speculation's super fucking cool. So like, what the fuck do I know about anything? Speculation's bad now, apparently. Aristotle's bad now, apparently. Henderson's bad now, apparently.
Yeah, and I didn't want to give all. I think Nasic should. I mean, he's already done one, but I think he should probably circle back with you and do a full show with just you, Mandy. But what made me start looking at Mandy's? He was streaming it for a long time, and then I started looking at the literature just on my own without him like telling me and feeding me shit, just to see if I could link some of the stuff up. And as soon as I started reading the structure of the comedy, how they did stuff, and I still don't know all of it, but like even the stuff that I've looked at, it all aligns and makes sense. And the archaeology, where I was trying to bring that up a little bit with Neil, where like even the Jews were going to these Greek theaters as well, and they had fifth row seats, inscriptions there to save their seat because they wanted to be there. But every little city that like Paul and all those went in the New Testament, they all had theaters. Like every single one of them had a theater.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just makes sense that the style of writing, it was like weird because it was a mixture, and a lot of the scholars, and I was trying to tell Neil that because he was like, well, in this play, they always say like exit stage. But
that's a later convention. Yeah, that's there. So shout out to Cross Bible for butting in a little bit there and said this is actually a textual critical question. You have to take a look at the manuscripts and figure out when that actually became like standard, right? And I've read a bunch of, I can cite you Carl Ruck saying that most stage plays didn't have the stage instructions on the on the writing or anything. So that's a later convention. I don't know exactly when it starts. I've read people say it's a Byzantine thing. I've read people, say that sometimes they had it. Most of the time they didn't, right? Carl Ruck says it wasn't expected. So it's not a standard that you would expect, right? Just to kind of throw that one out, right?
Where the Greek, like if people want to know, like, why did they start doing these styles of comedy? It's like the wars, every single fucking war they were in, they used it to kind of quell society because it was like going through war. People were losing their brother, their father, and they had to keep, society around. And then you had the political turmoil internally within Greece alone, where city-states were fighting each other too. Yeah. So they started creating this different type of comedy of adding these political elements to it. So like that Corinthian thing I was talking about, like where they're like, where you brought it up, Witch Doctor, where you're like, hey, they're telling them not to have sex with each other and like the males not to have sex with each other. Like that was kind of a political thing. And when you start seeing politics being entered into the Bible, that's like screaming Greek fucking tragedy. That's like it's screaming it right in your face. So when Amon says that it's Greek, it is like the style, all of it's Greek for sure, 100%. But when he takes it literal and then he also takes it to like the medical text, have you guys ever read like stuff that Galen actually got wrong? Because it's like, yeah, he got some stuff right. He did good stuff, but he also got a lot of shit wrong.
I highlighted some stuff that was silly, like, dehydrated snake skin, like rubbing it on your forehead, stuff like that.
Yeah. But there's entire papers about what he actually got wrong, and it's not just a little bit of stuff. Yeah. And so when Amon's like, well, it's we'll start here, and this is the way it goes. I think I think we all know he's kind of just doing his own thing, right? And I don't have a problem. I'm not saying stop or whatever. Do what the hell you want. I don't care. But just people that are following it, like, don't listen to me if you don't want to. But go look for the papers on your own. You'll find them.
I'm going to show you.
Start reading that. And you'll go, wow, this is insane. And when Mandy said before that Amon was not the first guy to say this, he was not the first person to say a lot of that shit.
Oh, yeah. Jeremy Bentham pointed out the weird stuff going on with the kid or the dwarf in 1451-52. And based off of his reading of Lucian, the dialogue with the courtesans, that word was used associated with prostitution. And basically Lucian or Jeremy Bentham's reading of it was like, oh, shit, I think this might be like a prostitute. right? So I want to show you guys something. The Wikipedia page, Wiktionary for Neoniskos. All right, take a look at. Can you guys see me? Am I? All right, you
Yeah.
guys can see this, right? So this is the Wiktionary. You got the Neoniskos right here, right? It says the Neonias, it means young, right? Iskos is diminutive, right? Not necessarily by force, right? And I haven't actually seen this. Neil shows it to me not too long ago, right? And they cite one of the sources that I use for this theory. You guys see this right here? Right? You see
Yeah.
the source? What it says? Hanton.
Yeah.
Right? Stephen. Right? So I pulled up this guy's article here. Accept all the cookies here. Take a look at.
Hold on, switch back.
Oh, how do I do it?
Go down.
Where?
Change that one. See it? Yeah.
Here, you do it. I don't know what you're pointing at. Sorry. Let me. I don't know how to actually use this thing. Where are we at, Johnny? How do I go to the next?
Oh, I'm working on it.
All right. I don't think you want to stop the screen, right? Anyway, I've got this guy's article up here. I wanted to show you. What's going on, Johnny? Where are we at?
Dude, you got to give me a second, man.
Mhm. I did share the link to Secundus if you want to pin that or anything to the chat.
Yeah, we'll put it in there so that people can get the
No,
book
we
and
have to
all that.
Stop the screen.
So you stop
Yep.
that one,
Alright.
and then you pull up the other one.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
My college emailed me going, "We're closed." I'm like, "I'm in another state, but yeah, we're closed."
For the storm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, we have a freeze.
Mark's
coming.
comic frame. There you go. Okay.
I have a generator, so I'm good to go. I got propane. I got gas.
Can you guys read this? Is this showing up here? Can you see this?
Yeah, you can zoom
Okay.
in if you want. You can make
How
it a
do
lot.
how do I zoom in,
Go to
Johnny?
the other one.
This one here?
Yep. Go to that
I
one.
can zoom in. How do I zoom in? Okay. Can everybody read this? Do they see what this is saying here on this first one?
Yes.
This first. Does anybody want to read this out loud for the audience?
Brill introduction. The young man who flees in Gethsemane, Mark 14:51-52, and the young man who speaks to the women in Jesus's open tomb. It is very small, but I can pretty much see it. Are frequently interpreted together because of their shared vocabulary and their elements. But passages use the word neoniskos, young man, little youth, as we've described it, to describe their characters. Both figures are depicted as being dressed or wrapped in clothing, though they wear is different. Both characters are anonymous. The young man in Gethsemane flees from this would-be captors, and thus women flee from the messenger in the tomb. Some scholars also note that this narrative events from I can't read it.
Inclusio.
Okay, cool. That frames the accountants in the trial and death of Jesus.
So if I scroll down, is this scrolling? You guys can see it scrolling, or is that not?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
Check it out. So Neoniskos
In
associated with comic behavior. Take a look at that. Plato's Republic, laughable clowning buffoonery, right? You got Aristotle here talking about it. Oh, hey, look at that name. Aristophanes. Isn't that interesting? You got Aristophanes talking about all this stuff. More Aristophanes of buffoons, right? So this isn't me making stuff up, right? Oh, take
What
a
does that say about Xenophon?
Xenophon.
Yeah. Describe.
Oh, Chase can't make it. Just letting y'all know. I was gonna see if he'd jump on.
Yeah, pouring wine. So anyway,
Okay.
if you go to the Wikipedia page for the word Neoniskos to fact check what Amma Hillman has to say about this, what shows up is an article that goes in very deep detail about the mimesis and how all of this stuff works comedically, right? I mean, it's insane. You're quoting Foucault here, dude. Take a look at some of the other people. You got Socrates talking about here. There's take a look at that. A
Hegel.
reference to Hegel? What? A reference to Slavoj Žižek?
The
What
biggest
is
problem you probably
this?
have you
Right? The
found
young man in
some
the
sorry, some of your friends, have they ever pushed back because they they're like, no, I need it to be a kid, and I need it to be not a comedy, like because they want it to be a perverted passage or.
Well,
They
so
don't
here's
understand.
what-
They don't understand the culture. I think that's what Mandy's. I mean, everything I'm picking up from Mandy. That's his
I'm
like
trying
biggest
to I'm
blight
trying
with
to
it.
show you, like, there are people that have written about the context of this word neoniskos used in comedy in the context of the goddamn Bible, right? And then if you go and do, Amon Hillman's fucking typical bit where he pulls Henderson's Immaculate Muse off his fucking shelf and flips through it and goes, oh, the word klopos, there it goes. This, and according to Henderson, it says klopos means vagina. It also says this in the Bible. So therefore, it means vagina in the Bible. And you go, well, I mean, the according to your theory, Mark isn't a comedy, right? According to Amon Hillman's theory, this is an eyewitness account of a ritual going on, not an eyewitness account of a fucking stage play in the style of comedy, right? Like Amon Hillman's theory doesn't work according to the standard basics of stylistic critique, dude. Like stylistic critique. And he was on fucking Danny Jones going, according to style. I've been reading this for 30 years. I can tell the style. I can smell it. Right? He didn't, right? Like, no, motherfucker. I've looked at the fucking article about the word Dionyskos, and it says that it's a fucking comedy. You aren't saying it's a fucking comedy. So your use of Henderson is invalid, right? Like this dude right here would be able to make a better fucking argument for Amon Hillman's fucking nonsense because he can cite Aristophanes. He can go, according to Aristophanes and according to Henderson, this word means that and this fucking word means that. And if it's a fucking comedy, all of these interpretations are valid. But he doesn't, right? He doesn't because he's a fucking good scholar, right? Like Amon's just fucking out of his goddamn fucking gourd, right? It's so fucking goofy, dude. And like I've been telling everybody since fucking day one, like I'm not an Amon Hillman fan. I'm like a founding member of the Carl Ruck fan club, and Amon Hillman is an equal member of the Carl Ruck fan club, right?
I think there's been several campaigns that have tried to get some stuff across. And, I think it's worked some. I think there's a good place. Y'all have seen movies like Bad Trip and Bad Grandpa, Jackass and CKY movies, where they have a loosely staged script, but with real life people as the culprits or the victims for the scene. So like Bad Grandpa, he accidentally shits his pants in the restaurant. Everybody there thinks it's actually happening. But it's just Johnny Knoxville in a suit and a funny kid. And, I think that is where who shall not be named. I think that's the kind of comedy that Voldemort needs to have, is a movie where he goes around trying to preach at different churches and he starts getting into all that stuff and it completely 180s the crowd like Borat or Bruno movie. That's what Amon needs to do with his work. And it will be a gold mine, and we'll forgive his daughter being in the room when he talks about all that fucking pornographic and illicit stuff. We'll forgive him for that. If he can go and do something classy and set people up to give sermons, truck chapels, little southern churches, go to New York, go all over and do this. If he can make that happen, he will have completely redeemed himself. And it will be satire, and it will be Hellenistic as well. It will be everything that it needs to be. But if people keep showing up watching that show every week, I don't think they're learning Greek anymore. So
yeah, I mean, the issue is that like early on, like at the very, very beginning, when this dude was, on YouTube and he was like part of the Carl Ruck fan club and he's, hollered into a microphone, being over the top and theatrical and all that, like he had a group of creatives behind him. I was one of them. Like I wrote jokes for the fucking guy, right? Every time you hear him say, can you smell the anthropology? Or do you smell that, right? That's a cue that I helped him develop for his audience to recognize that we're abandoning the text.
Yeah,
right?
talked
This
about
is, and this stuff comes out of, you know, long conversations that we had with the dude after his fucking show. We would sit there, we would watch his fucking show, work in the studio, and I would drive home and listen to, you know, the group chat talking, and I would talk through my Bluetooth and go and chime in every now and then and go, oh yeah, you know, we need some sort of a, you know, a cue. We need like a theatrical cue. Change the lights, change your shirt. So like you're putting on different characters. You're not putting on a mask, but change the lights, change your shirt. You know what I mean? That stuff all developed because he had a creative team behind him, right? And he lost that creative team when he started bullshit. Like we were just like, a lot of us were just like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like you're not curing cancer. Like that's like unethical. Like as far as my comedic, like you can't, you know, that's what really set me off. A lot of people
have jumped ship.
So when I jumped ship, right, and I was still like part of it because I got a blaster and I could like, you know, when he went on Danny Jones, a bunch of like Nazis and shit started coming in, and I was like, oh great, I get to blast Nazis, fun, boom, 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 boom. So I got like stuck around out of like anti-fascism, right? Just this is fun. I get to troll fucking Christians and blast Nazis, awesome. And like I'm hanging out with my friends and they're all anarchists and shit. This is fun, right? And then he started saying like, oh, I'm going to cure cancer. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, no, you're not going to fucking cure cancer, dude. Like your text doesn't fucking say that, dude. It does not anywhere in any way, fucking shape or form. Like you're not going to learn to read Greek and in 30 years cure cancer because of what something fucking Dioscorides or fucking Galen said. Like you're full of fucking shit, dude. Right?
They are.
And like, you know, and I'm not a like I'm a comedian. I'm a funny guy. I was there to like, hey, I've also read Anderson. Here's the dick jokes. Here's the pussy jokes. Here's the poop jokes. Right? Yeah. Like all the poop jokes. I'm like, check out Henderson. And some of the poop jokes, which is even fucking more fun, came out of me. Like I told you guys that I used to drive from here to my house. I don't have very good cell service at the farm, so I would drive to the next town over to a graveyard and park my car in the graveyard. Do you know whose grave I was sitting in front of while talking to Amon Hillman? The one and only infallible James Hillman. I was sitting in James Hillman at James Hillman's fucking grave doing necromancy with Amon Hillman, asking him, I'm fucking, dude, I like, it's, if some of those recordings exist, like some of the ridiculous questions that I asked, like I was sitting there reading James Hillman and asking Amon Hillman questions as if he was fucking James Hillman. And here's the thing, I've seen Amon Hillman reference and cite James Hillman, so I know he's read it. Right, I know he's read the source that I'm reading to him, making jokes. Right, like the meta comedy that I was involved with Lady Babylon and my homies Neil and Snappy and all those people. Like the new crew of Amoniskos is so low IQ that you're not even ready to thumb wrestle in the gymnasium, you fucking dullards.
People have shifted big time. So what happened in the beginning was before anybody had really fired back at anything that he was doing, whether it be morally, ethically, translation, academically wise, whether it be hit pieces and stuff. I mean, look, some people have made channels completely dedicated to it. That sucks. That's really weird because if somebody stops doing, then that whole entire channel is gone. No one's going to care that much. But it also makes you look desperate as a YouTuber. If you're going to make, for example, if I made an anti or pro Trump page just because it got views, oh, come on, man. Anybody can do that, but it ends up getting views. You have to commit to a certain narrative that's usually too far in one direction that you don't even really go that far. From both sides, people that are blue typically don't agree with everything somebody that's blue does, and vice versa. So, a lot of things have changed, and a lot of people that wanted to be taken seriously weren't taken seriously when they would regurgitate things from that guy's show. Once they said the word Christing, you're done.
You're done. You're done. You're done. Get out of here. It's a neologism.
Say gorgeous, you're done. You say anything that, because what they're going to do is they're going to assume that that's the only show you watch to gather your information from. Not even, it's one of a bunch of other things. It's like, you know what? I doubt you really watched it that much.
But you know what attracts those people, right? I think they're all coming from pain because they're all most of them are former Christians. So they flock to a guy that's like, fuck Christianity. But we all could just sit there and throw up the middle finger and say the same thing. But when it comes down to actually understanding Greek culture, I haven't learned more of it other than listen to all these people from probably Mandy. Because honestly, looking up the papers on myself and ones that he doesn't even send me or reference at all, it's right there. I mean, it would be hard to argue against it. And then the other side is like, you have to look at the wars. Like, people don't understand the actual history of the influence of the Romans into Jerusalem, even like over and over again. Like when they went in there in Antiochus, right? They set up pagan fucking rituals in Jerusalem, in the city. They burned the fucking temple down. So you don't think they were doing comedy there? For sure, they were doing comedy there. They were doing their culture.
Fighting, comedy, theater, play, drama. They had everything. There was no fucking TV and Netflix. They didn't have StreamYard, So like it was the world. I swear the world was almost that way until the 90s. And after that, we got into the 2000s, and now people don't leave their house. We don't go out. We don't do things.
Even Egyptians. So even Egyptian stuff, and with if you want to get into like, I know Manny doesn't care about it because honestly, at the end of the day, for his theory, it doesn't really matter as much. But I think where Amin's trying to tie this stuff into like the rituals, and we know there's alabastrons and other ritualistic stuff happening, right? We know that, but even that stuff, like we know in the archaeological record, like a lot of that Egyptian scarab and stuff like that, we found all that up and through there because they were going in there war after war. They would go and win, then they'd lose to like the Seleucids, and they'd get kicked out, and then the Seleucids would bring their fucking shit in, and they'd have their own rituals. So it was like a bunch of these different rituals getting stuck in these little cities all up and down that coast and in Jerusalem as well. And so like all these Ammonites and Midianites and all these people were heavily influenced by a bunch of different cultures.
Ammoniscos.
Well, not that.
Ammoniscos.
I'm talking
Ammonites
about
are really cool rocks.
Yes, and actually, if you look up the horns, the horns actually, they reference that it's possibly from the fossils actually.
Oh, so they're actually making dildos out of fossils?
They were saying the horns were possibly linked to the actual Ammonite fossils. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty fun. Wow.
Yeah,
But they found alabastron with opium on it all the way up in modern day Ukraine, my guy.
Well,
so like people would be like, well, this stuff didn't have any crossover culture. Yes, it did.
Let me give you another obvious cultural crossover that's very clear comedy if you know the context of Greek comedy. Do you guys know off the top of your head what Dionysus did with that fig tree? Do you guys know what Dionysus did with the fig tree? Off the top of your heads, do you? Do you know the story?
Rubbed his butt on it.
Do you know the story of Dionysus and the fig tree? No, because you don't read the Greek comedies. Dionysus cursed the fig tree, cut it down, and made a dildo out of the fig tree and shoved that up his ass until his anus exploded. All right. And figging, if you read Karwag, is a Greek term for fucking in the ass, right? So Dionysus made a dildo out of a fig tree. Jesus in the Bible is mimetic of Dionysus. Yes?
Yes.
What does Jesus do to the fig tree? He curses it.
Right. Yeah.
Guy, I don't know. Like, just fucking
That's
read.
what I thought the second you said Dionysus. I was like,
Right. I mean,
I don't know what Dionysus did though.
it's not going to be like, right, the way that this stuff works is that when it comes to the comedy is in the gap, right? The comedy is in the gap between like what the text literally says and what's happening on stage. The comedy is in that gap, right? The comedy is always in the gap. If you read about ancient Greek styles of comedy and jokes and memes, mimetic of meme and pantomime, the comedy is in the gap, right? So
let me
it's
ask you this.
about the speculation. When you're looking at that gap and you don't know the Greek, right? Amon cannot. Here's the thing that's interesting about Amon. He cannot write an original joke in ancient Greek. Right? He could not. Never. He does not have enough of a capability of reading Greek to write an original joke in Greek. That is how you know you have a mastery of the language that you are talking. If you can write an original joke, and you know who can write original jokes? Fucking 4-year-olds.
Hey,
4-year-olds can write jokes.
didn't-
So what I'm saying is that Amon Hillman has
Right
the
there.
capability of Greek, of a equivalent of an Athenian 4-year-old child.
I mean,
He
Witch
has-
Doctor, the comedy is literally all over the Old Testament. Even when Myth Vision makes a video, I laugh because he's like, "Did you guys read the verse where Moses said that he was the greatest?" They were like, "Who did this?" And he was like, "Oh, it was me, and you know, I'm the best person." Or he was like complimenting himself, and I'm like, "So he's the one that wrote that?" You know how funny that is? Like you're just being like, "I'm the best person, and I'm the one that did this." And you wrote that about yourself. That's humor, dude. That's fucking humor.
Let me give you another example, right? Like a lot of the this thing about satire is embezzlement, right? Or embellishment, right? You have diminishment, which is taking your taking your subject and making them small. You have embellishment, which is taking your achievements and making them big,
Big fish.
right? You see this throughout the Old Testament of diminishing the Egyptians and the Babylonians and taking your God and elevating them, right? So the crossing of the Red Sea, right? This is one of those classic, check out Russell Gurmerkin if you want a solid source about how this all plays out. The parting of the Red Sea is a satire of the Jewish engineers diminishing the achievements of the Egyptians, right? So the Red Sea had this series of locks that connected to the Nile, right? And it was for the purpose of desalinating, right? So you would have to make sure that you had the locks so that the salt water didn't make it and ruin all of your irrigation water, right? So this elaborate series of locks. And it was built by Jewish slave labor, not just Jewish, other cultures were the slaves as well, but the Jews were primarily the ones who wrote down their stories. There were other Jews. Oh my God, there were other Jews in Egypt? Say it ain't so. Their stories weren't kept. What? But where? Why? Because it was burnt down. There were slaves. But the evidence was burnt down. The evidence was burnt down. The evidence was burnt. If it's good enough for Graham Hancock to say that the evidence was burnt down and lost because of his ancient destruction, and for Danny Jones fans to go, "Oh my God, it's the smartest thing I've ever fucking heard. Oh my God!" And then to criticize Luke for actually giving the consensus arguments about the history of the Assyrians and the Babylonians. It's like, you fucking dullards. Like, you guys have this is the stuff that I say when Amun is mocking his audience to their faces, right? He's presenting them with two entirely contradictory ideas and turning their brains into pretzels to try to justify them. Right? Like, you cannot be a Graham Hancock fan and an Amon Hillman fan. Those are two entirely mutually exclusive forms of pseudoscience. Like, you cannot be the two at the same time. They do not agree about anything, dude. Right? Like, they don't fucking agree. So to have people that love Amon and also love Hill and also love fucking Hancock is the goofiest fucking shit. I'm like, you fucking dullards, right? So you had the crossing of the Red Sea, right? The Red Sea was a series of locks, right, up the river to desalinate, right? And it was built and engineered by Jewish engineers and Jewish slaves, as well as some of them were hired and all that stuff too. Not to diminish them, but the point that the Jews were doing with the crossing of the Red Sea was to diminish that engineering marvel that the Egyptians came up with, right? So crossing the Red Sea was basically saying, they emptied one of the locks, right? Like the spaces between the lock, and then just walked across, right? Then they're like, "Oh, we crossed the Red Sea," and it's like, you guys, like, you fucking, like,
So
Silly
I,
little Jews.
Oh, they take
you
it so
goofy
serious. They're
little
like, we found a
Jews.
chariot wheel at the bottom of the Red Sea. and shit.
But
they
the
do
story,
have-
and you can the
it's
source for this. If you
wrong
guys want the source for what I just explained, it's Russell Gurmerkin. I'm not making this up. Russell Gurmerkin says that the crossing of the Red Sea is satire to diminish the achievements of the Egyptians. Like that's what the entire Old fucking Testament is, right? And then you have
Yeah.
another generation of Hellenistic Jews in Galilee telling this satirical anti-Roman story and using Jesus as like the center guy, right? Jesus, it means Jason in Greek, right? So you have this connotation of a seafaring god who's a drug guy, right? Jason means drug man. This is Carl Ruck's solid scholarship. Nothing crazy right there, right? But Jesus says, I am better than Jonah. By golly, Jonah is satire. And the writers would have known that. The audience would have known that, right?
Yeah.
So he's saying, I'm a better comedian and a better satirist than Jonah. I mean, come on, guys. Who else uses the swallowed in the belly of a fucking whale story? Fucking Lucian, who is at the exact same fucking time, right? Like,
yeah.
Lucian, here's my if you want me to put my fucking Amon Hillman hat on and say some crazy shit and speculate and fucking, throw some shit out there that I can't back up with actual sources and have to speculate on. Guess who wrote the fucking Gospel of Luke? Luke Acts. Lucian of motherfucking Samosata, right? Lucian of Samosata wrote Luke Acts. All right. And Luke Acts, the writer, the persona that is narrating it, is a persona, one of these masks that Lucian of Samosata puts on. Right. So you can see this throughout Lucian's work where he's wearing these different masks and calling different names. And all of them kind of have to do with like Luke, like Luca, Lucan, Lukey, right? They're all these variants of Luke, right? So Lucian of fucking Samosata wrote Luke Acts, right? And Luke Acts, Paul goes to Samothrace and then goes to Rome, right? That's a parody of Philo, when Philo goes to Rome and meets with Caligula. You guys remember the story of when Philo meets Caligula? Do you guys remember that one off the top of your heads? Philo meets Caligula, and Caligula, he's like, aren't you like the God-fearers? Like, I'm a god. What the hell are you doing here? Like, why are you guys here, right? Philo from Alexandria, he goes there and he's walking in this garden with Caligula, and Caligula says, you guys are God-fearers. What the fuck are you doing here? And then ignores them the entire fucking time. Doesn't say a goddamn word, walks around the garden, and like the Philo is just following him around this fucking garden. And if you look at some of the pictures of Caligula's garden, there's hermaphroditic statues. So on one side, it looks like a beautiful lady, and then you get to the other side, and there's just a massive dong flopping. Right? Fucking look this shit up, dude. I'm not making any of this up. Like, I have no reason to lie to you. Yeah, I have no reason to lie to you, right? So Philo, he's walking around following Caligula, begging him, like, oh, please, like, my people are starving, just to be nice to us, blah, blah, blah. And then the only fucking thing that Caligula says, he stops and goes, why don't you guys eat pork? It's just, what the fuck? He just goes, why don't you guys eat pork? And that's like the whole fucking conversation that they have, right? It's so fucking goofy, dude. Like, and like, that's the.
Did you know they found? Did you hear they found Caligula's like Roman coffee table in New York City? Somebody actually had it. They dated it back to like Caligula, and it's like all psychedelic, like with the Greca and shit on it. It's pretty badass.
Like the iconography on it, or like the residue?
Yeah, like the pattern and stuff. Like
okay, right on.
And then I think there are some historians, Roman historians, that wrote that he was actually doing stuff like that. But and then we all know Marcus Aurelius was using a bunch of stuff too. So I think it's just part of the culture. Like they were just trading, using things, doing comedy. Politics was huge, but them being a part of like the average day social atmosphere was also big. Because like if you're a citizen of Rome and you see Caligula at a fucking theater, you know how badass that is, and you're gonna, he's one of us, you know. And it's just a thing that they did just to deal with like all of the war that was going on at the time. I mean, people really need to gel that. Really go and look. There's some history, like war history channels that I post sometimes. People should go watch those because they actually show the battles, like what culture went where, what was instilled, who stayed, when they left, when they were kicked out. And I think that plays heavily into all of this. And I mean, it's just, to me, it's night and day. I mean, the other side of the coin is you got guys like Giorgiani going around going, the parting of the Red Sea was a UFO.
Giorgiani's a fucking, I mean, he's that guy that was in that, you remember the video of Giorgiani saying that we're going to put Hitler's face on coins and shit? Did you ever see that? Do you remember that back in the day? So Giorgiani was like a leader in the fucking alt-right back in the day, dude. Like, you know, like the Jews will not replace us, fucking Charlottesville fucking riots and shit. Like Giorgiani was one of those dudes. Like he was right there with Spencer and shit. Like Richard Spencer, the dude that got punched in the face. Like if I ever see Giorgiani in person, I'm gonna punch that guy in his fucking face. Like it's like I'm just being honest, dude. Like the guy's a fucking Nazi. I'm gonna punch him in his fucking face, right? And like, you know, I read a lot of the same fucking philosophy that he reads. Like, I love Heidegger. Heidegger was a Nazi, but like, I still read Heidegger. I fucking learned a ton about Heraclitus because I read Heidegger. I fucking love Heidegger. But like,
he was a Nazi, but he was kind of forced to be one, and then he left and kind of denounced it.
He became a fucking hermit and wandered off into the woods. Witch Doctor's back. Added stage. Boom. Yo, Witch Doctor, what up, dude? What do you got? Oh, you got that burning purple?
Yeah.
Oh man, look at those squiggly lines, dude. It's so esoteric.
Oh shit.
That's some esoteric chip you got there.
With Japanese. I can't tell. It's from the gas station. No.
They had Japanese stuff at your gas station? Korean stuff at your gas station? No shit.
They let that happen in Texas.
Yeah, seriously.
I know, right? Yeah, no, we have this freeze coming up, so I went there to get stuff. I had to get a freaking thing of propane and some gas and just some other BS food and whatnot. Just so I
don't think we're gonna lose power, man. I think they put like $200 million into winterizing the grid, the power grid. So I think we'll be all right.
Well, yeah, you guys had a crazy storm like 4 years ago. I don't think that's gonna happen again.
Yeah, that was nuts.
Yeah. Well, and now they already know that they can stimulate the economy so much by overhyping a storm because everybody goes out and buys everything like I have done.
Yeah, welcome to New England. That's every year in New England.
Yeah, I used to live in Virginia, and we did get snow in Roanoke. That was badass, actually. Real snow. Not like just like that one time a year, 2 times a year, or whatever. Hell, I need to probably wrap it up in a little bit if that's cool, yo.
Yeah, man. Grab your Sindon, wrap that thing up.
Cool. Yeah. Well, grab your Sindon.
Grab that Sindon, wrap that thing.
Sindon.
Oh, shit, that was good.
That was perfect.
But don't you see the iron? Like, you know that whole story about Jesus getting on the boat and like all the people are scared, all the little, you know, they're all scared to go across the sea because of the storms, and Jesus like, no, I got this. So they finally go across, and who do they see when they get there? A fucking midget.
Midget. Dude, a midget.
It's so funny, dude.
It's so imagine how goddamn funny that is, dude.
And also, he's the fisher of men, and when you get there, it's a little man.
It's a little guy, dude. It's like a fish, like a. Oh man,
he's like the guy. Hey boss, the plane.
No,
He's
it's
the
like
guy
fucking
from
somebody's like, you're gonna meet fucking Jackie Chan to learn Chinese karate, and you fucking show up and it's fucking Bobby Lee sitting there.
Oh man, dude, it's so comedic, dude. They're everywhere, and like, why do and like they always have huge dongs, so like the whole dong thing is always funny, right? Like that's part of the comedic effect of having dwarves on stage. They have disproportionately big dongs, dude. It's so goddamn funny. So like having a dwarf dong flapping around on stage, like you would expect to see that in this type of play, right? It's not controversial, and Amon doesn't have that backed up for his theory, dude. He doesn't have that. The texts don't support it. The actual archaeology doesn't support it. None of it, dude. And I've got all of that. Like, I've got the text. I've got the fucking archaeology. I've got defibrillated Dionysian dwarves in gardens at 4 a.m. Like, you ain't got it, right? Like, debate me, Amon. I'll do it on Danny Jones.
All books or just Mark?
What's that?
You took all the books, Luke, Mark.
Oh yeah, all of them are satire. Yeah, start to finish, all of the
Dude. So I looked up. I literally went book by book and literally went verse by verse with the scholars that were writing the papers on this stuff, and it's almost all of them witch doctor.
There's a book that has I can't remember the name of it, but it goes through all of the Old Testament and finds all of the comedy and, like, book by book by book, chapter by chapter. What are the jokes? What's the irony? Yada yada yada. And like half of it's about fucking Jonah. Obviously,
the one that I brought up to Neil was like, and he was like, "No, I don't believe that was real." And it's like, well, duh, like who does? But the 42 kids were mauled by one bear because they were making fun of bald guy Elisha.
Yeah,
like come on, guys, like like. It's this stuff that, like Mandy said, it's so embellished. It's obviously comedy. I'll
give you the 42 kids being killed by the bear. It's the same stagecraft that is used for the comedic effect of Cersei's pigs in the cemeteries story, right? Where you have a high platform, and then you have something in front, and then you have like pillows behind it, right? And then you have a set of stairs. So they climb up, they fall down, they climb up, they fall down, they climb up, they fall down, right? So the visual effect on stage looks like, oh, it's, so many children that are being mauled by the bear, right? So they would get attacked and then run up the stairs, get attacked, run and fall down and like do the loop. It's when you see that many like something being killed by one thing, right? That is like a dozen people on stage or 6 people being killed a bunch of times over and over and over. So it makes it look like it's a ton, right? It's a classic Greek fucking stagecraft. Like you see it everywhere. This is a motif that's just like you see it everywhere, and they still do it to this day. Like this is a classic technique that you see in theaters to do that same effect, right? I don't know the technical term for it, but you can look it up, and there's a technical term for that effect, right? It's just the multiple people being killed over and over thing. It's a common motif. It's the stagecraft in Cersei's with the pigs and shit. Like it's classic. Like literally, like there's a couple of books that I would recommend people if they want to learn about the history of like ancient stagecraft and all of that. Check out Demons and Dancers by Ruth Webb. That one's absolutely great. It'll tell you all about like the culture and like the fact that a lot of these stage performers were slaves. So like how that affected their their mindset and all that shit. So check out that book. I recommend everybody check out fucking Demons and Dancers. I was listening to it today. She has another book that's absolutely great too. The Giorgiani loves Ayn Rand and considers himself a philosopher, but really just copies misspelled name Nietzsche. Here's the thing about Nietzsche that's really, really fun. I was reading the Twilight of the Gods, Twilight of the Idols, and my copy has the Antichrist too, because they're both pretty short. And at one point, Nietzsche's like literally verbatim, I'm probably going to quote him pretty close to what he actually said. He said that there are 2 things that are the antidote to Christianity. One is philology and the other is medicine. And this is Friedrich fucking Nietzsche saying this, like 200 years before Amon even had the thought even fucking crossed his mind, dude. Like Nietzsche was orders of magnitude better philologist than Amon could ever be on his best day, right? Give Amon 100 years, he couldn't hold a fucking candle to Nietzsche, right? And Nietzsche, said that the antidote to Christianity is philology and medicine. So Amon's entire fucking bullshit act about, oh, you got the medicine and the philology, the medicine, the philology, the medicine, philology. Like, you don't need to read Amon. You can read fucking Nietzsche. I read Nietzsche when I was 13. Like, what's your guys' fucking excuse? Like, why are you enamored by Amon telling you what Nietzsche already fucking said, right? Like, it's not hard, guys. Like, just fucking read Nietzsche. Most people
throw another one. I'll throw another one at you.
Unread fucking philosophers, dude. What was that?
I'll throw another one at you. So I was thinking about Nietzsche, right? So when he said God is dead, and then people read that and they go, "Oh, it's a bad thing because we need that to quell society." I read that and heard that, and I was just like, "That's fucking hilarious." And I
Yeah.
think that's the way he looked at it too, because he was also a big fan of Machiavelli. And Machiavelli actually has some humor in there, and people don't pick that up either. They're just reading that like, "Oh, he's just an asshole," but he's reading what he says is true because that's all about power.
Machiavelli the Prince is satire. It's a work of satire. It's what to do. It's a guide on how to ruin a monarchy, right? So if you want
Yeah.
to tear down a monarchy and you have like an inside way to subvert the monarchy and get your ear in the prince or whatever, follow what Machiavelli said. And over the course of 100, 200 years, you're going to set the seeds for failure and breathe the decline of the monarchy and sow the seeds for republicanism and democracy, right? So it's a satire on how to, achieve revolution subvertively, right? Like, and it doesn't take a ton to read this. There's tons of people who have written about Machiavelli and how it's a guide to subvert monarchy and sow the seeds for revolution and for democracy. Like, just fucking read the literature, guys. Like, this is the thing about the theory and methodology and like this how they're dirty words now. It's like, oh, this is where you get a lot of the like nuance is reading the secondary text, right? You go to the primary source. Oh, guess what, Amon? Like, your book is a secondary source, and people go to you. Like, you're a secondary source. Like, you're not a primary source. So they're going to you for your interpretation and your speculation, like, and your rhetoric and your logic and your theories, just like any other secondhand source, like secondary source, right? Like, if you want to learn about fucking Heraclitus, read what Heidegger had to say. You'll learn more about Heraclitus than reading Heraclitus, right? Like, you don't have the language skills. You cannot smell what Heraclitus was smelling. So the things that Heraclitus is describing to you, you don't have the capacity to understand them. When Heraclitus says that souls perceived by a smell in the underworld, you don't know what he's saying. You do not have the linguistic skills. You don't have the philology behind you. You don't have the Greek. And Amon, even on his fucking best day, does not have the Greek to describe and explain what Heraclitus meant when he said souls smell in the underworld, right? Because the Greek language does not have a word for the internal sense of aroma, right? An olfactory mind, smelling with your mind nose. The Greek is not capable of putting together those sorts of words. They didn't do that, right? So when I was like, getting into this shit, and I was like, oh, I'm interested in learning Greek. I asked Amon, I'm like, well, what is the Greek word for smelling with your mind nose? And he goes, they didn't have one. I go, well, it was nice meeting you. I'm not going to learn Greek because it's use of language to me, right? I can create a neologism for smelling with your mind nose in English that can communicate more than the Greek is capable of doing. So why the fuck am I going to go learn Mother Greek, right? Like, I can't smell Mother Greek's pussy and describe that smell in ancient Greek because it does not capable. I can't smell Mother Greek. I can't take the Mother Greek pussy and go and smell it and describe it in ancient Greek. It's not capable of doing that, right? And here's another fucking...
I don't understand that. I don't understand how Greek cannot describe how... I don't know, maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. Greek can't describe how something smells.
Greek does not have the capacity to describe your inner sense of smell, right? So you know how we have the word imagination? The word imagination means to create an image, a picture in your mind, right? A mind picture. There's no word in Greek for creating a mind smell. Right, but we can babble in
English.
What's that?
Describe it in English.
In English, we would have the word. Well, we have the neologism now available to us, which would be haha, I made you say jism. The neologism available to us that is nose gnosis and nose noose, right? So internal olfactory gnosis, right? The knowledge of what it means when you can imagine, when you can use your mind for smells, right? We all are capable of doing it, but our words are clumsy. Even the English language is clumsy and barbaric with this, because most of the words in every human language have to do with seeing and hearing. Most of the words. There are very, very, very few words for what we smell. Our language is absolutely barbaric when it comes to describing aroma. The ancient Greek language, with its bajillion and a half, unique words, also has a very limited vocabulary for describing smell, right? But everybody smells, everybody, and they have smelled for 300,000 years and have been describing aroma for 300,000 years. Yet the most magnificent fucking language in the world has a tiny, tiny little limited vocabulary, as tiny and little and limited as our English language. So fuck off, right? Like, there's no reason to need to learn Greek if what you're actually trying to do is obtain gnosis, right? Gnosis, right? The gnosis comes from.
I'm gonna bounce another one off you. You brought up Heraclitus. So for people listening and they want to start reading philosophy the way that it's actually written and the way that Mandy's talking about it, a good example would be what Wittgenstein made a joke off of Heraclitus's shit. And if you don't understand that, you don't understand philosophy. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the easiest examples. And that's one of the things that he's famous for. So the thing was, Heraclitus was famous for saying you cannot walk into the same river twice, right? Anywhere. Wittgenstein said, well, that's not really a problem because it's a non-issue. That's basically what basically you're perfect as you are. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. And that was his thing. But it's like comedy based off of a play. The way I see it, it's a comedic play off of somebody else's phrase. It's like a comedian making a joke off another comedian's famous skit, right? That's the way I see it. And if you don't see the philosophy like that, then I guess you're just reading it like you think it's all true. Kind of like I was trying to bring up with like Neil on the Bible. He was just like assuming all of it was real shit. And I'm just like, why are you doing that? People really need to start reading this stuff the way that it was intended. And I think intent, style, structure, start studying that stuff to understand what Mandy's talking about. And I think once you start doing that, it's going to be very clear to most people.
And the fact that you've read philosophy, you understand intent, style, and structure, and all of that. And when Amon says he doesn't care about the author's intent, that is him signifying that he is what is called philosophically, like theoretically, like his milieu. That's called post-structuralism, right? That is the death of the author. So you're in Derrida territory and shit when you're talking about when Amon's doing his fucking thing, right? Which is not like very well received in academia. Like academia is all about that structuralism. Karl Ruck, a lot of his stuff methodologically is structuralist, right? He's using structuralism and a lot of like Freudian theory and stuff to do his interpretations. And like he's upfront about what theory he's using for his interpretations and stuff and what his sources are. And then Amon comes and goes, oh, I'm a post-structuralist. Death of the author, it doesn't fucking matter. But he's not going to tell you that. And like, his audience has never read fucking Foucault. They've never read Derrida. They've never read Roland Barthes. They've never read, like, they don't know this stuff. So when he says death of the author, he doesn't care. They don't know, like, they think that's an original thing to him. You know what I mean? They think, he's a genius. He doesn't care about the intent of the author. It's like, motherfucker, read Derrida. Like, fucking read Derrida. And like, tell me that like ancient Greek is hard to understand. Derrida's fucking hard to understand, you dullards. And like, I was reading Derrida when I was in high school. So like, there's no excuse for this shit to not know it. Like, and to be like taken in and
but what are the French, I'm going to say this, dude, the French philosophy, when people look at that, they all think about postmodernism and all this other shit, right? To me, I love it, like Foucault and others, Baudrillard, whatever, because most of them, I would say the best ones, they don't have a conclusion. And that's what my fucking point is every time I say that. I'm like, don't have a teleology. Don't have something in your mind that you say, I know what, because even in Foucault, when he was going at Chomsky, that's a big difference. It's not about what side you pick, but of course people are going to pick right or left, whatever. But when Foucault was like, Chomsky's like, well, what is your solution? He's like, I don't have one. I just started laughing my ass off, and I'm like, that's what it's all fucking about right there. Don't live your life that you have everything mapped out so perfectly that it's going to go this way, that way, you know everything. Maybe you should start living life that you don't know shit, and just try doing stuff that maybe you haven't done before, and enjoy fucking life. It's short, man, you know?
Yeah. You know, I mean, it's funny to like to read Amun's material, because like if you read the Chemical Muse, there's a lot of like actual like dialectic materialism and like class consciousness built into the book. But if you don't have an academic background, you haven't read Marx, you haven't read any critical theory or anything like that, all that stuff's going to go right over your fucking head. And you're just going to go, oh, like you're going to read it, and you don't have a neuro-linguistic reality tunnel to formulate anything what's being communicated to you. So you're just reading past it until you get to like a drug reference, or you get to, you know what I mean? Like you're playing word games with yourself, most of these people, because they don't know like what he's actually saying or any of it, because they don't have academic backgrounds. None of them are academics, right? Most of them don't. They didn't read the Chemical Muse and see his fucking footnote to Schopenhauer, where he quotes Schopenhauer saying, reality is what I will it to be, right? And you go, hell yeah, Schopenhauer. And I'm like, I like that shit, right? I like that shit. But then when you go and like try to con your audience using like the philosophy that I love Derrida, I love Deleuze, I love Foucault, I love Heidegger, I love fucking Roland Barthes, I love all of this post-structuralist fucking leftist fucking like queer study, fucking critical theory, fucking Freudian, post-Freudian fucking bullshit. Like that's my milieu. Like that's where I come from, right? So like when he goes and tries to like present that shit as though like he's some fucking genius, I'm like, dude, you're not a genius for saying the Greeks didn't have a word for gay. Like fucking Foucault said that forever ago. Just fucking quote Foucault and just fucking move on. Like Foucault is what you read when you're a fucking freshman, like undergrad, dude. Like that is entry level shit, and he says it to his audience, and they think it's fucking mind-blowing, brilliant shit. Like the Greeks didn't have a word for homosexual. What? And it's like, guys, just read Foucault. It's assigned in fucking philosophy 101. Like when you're a fucking freshman, like go to college, you fucking dullards. Like what did you people study? Like what the fuck did you people study? And like how did you get here? If you're like blown away by this bald guy on the fucking internet saying there's no word in Greek for fucking gay, like get the fuck out of here, you dullards. Like the stupidity that was brought to this community through fucking through Danny Jones just blows my goddamn mind, dude. Like just like another level of dullardom, dude. Another level of dullardom.
Yes, but all that philosophy too. I mean, so like I was thinking of, who is it? Who's the other French guy that we're missing? Sartre.
Yeah,
Sartre, man. That's all of his shit is just like that. And then you have people that leave it open, but then you have people that are just it's just a bunch of comedy, in my opinion, going off of each other like constantly in that realm. But then you have books like by Deleuze and Guattari, when they write fucking like 4 books, and the answer after you read 4 fucking books for what they describe as philosophy is so simple. You read 4 books, and 4 books later the answer is it's just creation.
Just concept, like, making shit up. It's just making shit up, guys. Just have fun. Like, just have fun and make shit up, because like they were doing it back then. You can do it too. And if the more books you read, the more fun it is to make shit up, because like you have a larger neuro-linguistic reality tunnel. So like, you know, it's absurd to me, you know, and like. I love fucking with his fans, and like even when I was one of them, like it was fun because like I got to attack Christians and, you know, fucking Bible scholars and, you know, people that only are literate in Hebrew and don't know shit about Greek, so they go talking waxing intellectual about Greek and get tripped up on like entry level shit, and like and it's really fun. You get to call those people out because they are indeed dullards. But like, you don't need to be at Amon's level to recognize how fucking stupid your average person is, right? Like, it doesn't take a ton. So you can like, remember Richard Carey? You interviewed Richard Carey. Yeah. He wrote that article about Amon, saying some shit about how he uses Mott and Bailey as like a strategic technique. You know who taught that? Who perfected that Mott and Bailey technique? I perfected that shit. I perfected it. Like, I'm the one who, like, all of the strategic Mott and Bailey stuff that you see the Ammonites trying to do, they're doing a pale imitation of what I perfected. Right. And I perfected it like mocking people like Kip Davis, like making fun of him because he's fucking dumb. Like, I thought that guy was dumb for a long fucking time. So when Amon goes after, I'm like, oh, that's fun. Like, I fucking already don't like that guy. So I'm just going to go fucking make fun of him. Right.
That
but
guy
like,
really doesn't like you.
He doesn't like me at all. And he has not liked me like for a long fucking time. And like,
I think I've made a few guys mad too.
Yeah, but like, I mean, Kip sucks. He's dumb. He doesn't know Greek, so like, it's fun to fuck with the guy. He's really good at Hebrew, I guess, and Aramaic, I guess. But like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I genuinely don't, because like,
does anybody know what happened to Midvision?
He posted a video recently.
Yeah. He's like I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah, he started making like a political react channel and all that shit. I don't really care.
It's something. A lot of things have changed. I don't know. I was just checking.
He's always been, in my opinion, he's still very an evangelical Christian mindset, and I think he just took his background in being an evangelical and just made it into a YouTube thing and tried to just make more channels, bring in more money. I mean, he already told everybody, he's like, I'm trying to buy a bigger house for my family, so I need to do make more money. Then he did a fundraiser for Kip Davis, where he was like asking people to send donations in to get Kip a new camera. So the guy's clearly money oriented. I
think Derek is atheist though.
Yeah. No, I think he switched, but I'm just saying like that when you grow up as because he said it himself, he used to be an evangelical Christian.
Right.
That doesn't just go away overnight. You can't just prop up a pirate flag and expect to be a different person overnight,
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that I will give Derek credit for. Derek has read Lucian and understands the importance of Lucian, understands the importance of the satire and all of that. And I've talked to the guy about it. He was like, hey, can you, like, literally, like, one time I was kind of trolling him in his Discord, and he was like, hey, can you actually send me a source that says the Bible is satire? And I sent him a source that says the Bible is satire. I sent him the style guide to the Bible, like the biblical style guide. The fucking writer of it says, in no uncertain terms, the Bible is the most satirical book ever written. No uncertain terms.
100%.
Right?
100%.
And it's the biblical style guide. So if you study in college, the textbook that you are going to get to you, biblical style, says the Bible is the most satirical book ever written. Like, I'm not making this shit up. I'm just trying to illuminate it.
Humanity.
And I'm also, jovial and fucking over the top and able to make jokes and fucking mock people and shit.
This online?
Yeah. Oh, Mandy Moorhall's a character, guys. Did you guys know that? When you call me on the phone, you're not talking to Mandy Moorhall. You're talking to a dude that owns a flower farm and drives a BMW. Like, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
pretty sweet BMW.
My BMW is fucking awesome. I was trying to buy a Volvo wagon and I ended up buying a BMW wagon. Whatever. It was a better deal.
Oh,
but,
nice.
You're when you call me on the phone, you're not. It's a different voice, a different manner. It's a different. You know what I mean? So when I say, oh, Amon's he's doing a character, he's doing theatrics. It's like, yeah, I performed for you what I just explained to you. Right? I'm doing the demonstration and the explanation at the same time. Right? That is a methodological thing that goes back to the Greeks. Right? It goes back to them. So like, if you don't like study their fucking style and their style of rhetoric, you're never gonna get a lot of the jokes that a lot of these fucking philosophers that are on the level of Nietzsche and orders of magnitude funnier than Amon are capable of making to each other. Right? Tons of the Western canon of philosophy is actually very, very smart people making jokes back and forth to each other that their audience doesn't understand. Right?
Yeah.
And then confusing them and trying to get into this, oh, what did he mean here? What do they mean there? And people write dissertations and fucking, inspired and all that. But it's just fucking nerds who learn to read Greek and Latin, referencing Horace and fucking Juvenal and fucking Lucian back and forth at each other over your fucking head, over your head. You're not going to notice.
Do you remember the trip that they describe? I forget which philosopher was describing it. It might have been Deleuze, talking about Sartre's trip when he ate mushrooms or acid. I forget what it was, but I thought you'd love this one, but you should go read it, Mandy, if you haven't. He was being chased by a giant crab.
That's some Moana shit right there.
The crabs, right? That comes from Samothrace. They are the what is it? The Corybites, the Corybores, the Corybites. It's something like that. But they were dwarves on stage, and they would dress them up as crabs, and they would dance around the stage during the performance. And they were just these little, dancing crabs that would like wander. And it was mimetic and a parody of the crabs that were actually on the coast. And they would come out, for mating at night, you know what I mean? And like huge waves. I don't know if you ever seen this sort of thing, but you can take a look at Samothrace and see the crabs that, wash on shore or, come on shore and whatever, like on the rocks and all that shit. But the mystery rites, they have crabs that were, these little dwarf guys that were running around dancing with their dongs out, dressed up, painted red, like the crabs, and had these little crab, and their dongs were just flapping around, right? And then like the performance, the mystery rites, the myth was performed on stage as they were dancing around. So they were like comic relief for the very seriousness of what's going on in these mystery rites, right? And if you read Henderson, for apparently now with Amon's fucking audience, Henderson's bad. Who the fuck would have thought? After Amon referencing that guy over and over and over and over and over and not really giving him credit. Here's another fucking thing. Right on Danny Jones's fucking show, Amon quotes from Henderson word for word without giving him credit. And then the next week on his fucking show, he holds up Henderson's fucking book and says, I used to love this and now I disavow it. And it's all theory and speculation and blah. It's like, motherfucker, how come a couple of weeks ago during your interview, it was perfectly fine to quote him word for word about the flute girls? His chapter about the flute girls, about the fellatio in Henderson is exactly word for word. If somebody wants to clip this, one of you fucking dumb Amoniscos, go find Amon saying the flute girls gave fellatio to the fucking the guest at the goddamn dinners, and then go to Henderson and look exactly what Henderson says in his opening paragraph in his chapter on fellatio. It's exactly word for word what Amon said to Danny Jones's face. And then Amon has the audacity to go on his show and tell his audience that Henderson's bad because theory bad, methodology bad. I'm like, his audience is so fucking dumb that they don't know that they're being mocked, right? They go, oh my God, the flute girls? And then he goes, Henderson bad. And they go, Henderson bad. It's like, you're being fucked with to your face. He's making fun of you. He's making fun of his audience, dude.
In the philosophy and classical world to make a joke out of the very thing. So for example, Ethan Cohen with the movie Oh Brother Where Art Thou. It's every redneck's favorite movie, and they're making fun of how ignorant the Southern populace was in that time and always has been, kind of in a way. Or in Lady Killers, just the sheer ignorance of the Bible folk, the ridiculousness of the choir in the church. I don't know. The punching up is a big part of philosophy, and arguably probably anybody that studied classics too.
Well, it's all they had to get at the political class. And so again, when they're in war, times of war, and being told you have to send your kids to war, what do you think they did? They acted out in a theater. That's all they could do. That was like their way to vent.
Right. Yeah. So I need to probably bounce in a minute, but if you could share my screen, Mandy, before I take off, I
Yeah,
just
how
want
do I do that, Johnny? You wanna...
Yeah. We had a pretty good episode. I definitely went a little longer than I
Oh yeah,
planned.
no, we were having fun, man. This was cool. We got
Yeah.
to,
No.
we got to
Shout
shit
out
talk
to
the
my wife,
East Coast.
Lady Witch Doctor, for watching the baby. She worked all day, and so she's got him right now. But she feeds him, so that's
Yeah. So this wasn't a talk about Amon show. This was actually a talk about Witch Doctor's new book, and tell the people where they can buy it and they can check it out. Is it available on Kindle, hardcover, softcover? What's the deal, dude?
Yeah, so they're both books. However, I don't really care about Witch Doctor Christianity going very far. But both books are on Amazon. Secundus, which it's just the Latin word for second. That's all that it means. For those that are kind of wondering what that even means, it's probably what you're thinking. But you probably wouldn't have thought that was the name of the book. There's really not a lot of other books out there, unless it's like a second grade Greek book or a Latin book or that says Secundus on it. So anyway, he is the second son. I'll go ahead and just read it. Raised in the shadow of Rome's brutality, Secundus expected to become a warrior. Born the second son of Antonius Niger Athetes, a feared and respected warrior and now gladiator trainer of Capua. Remember, guys, go watch Spartacus. Secundus grows up watching his older brother Marcus rise to the sands of the arena. But when Rome's ambitions stretch to new lands, Secundus is swept into a world far harsher than the amphitheater. From the blood-soaked forests of Dacia, which is modern-day Romania, to the political tensions of Jerusalem, Secundus faces ambushes, loss, and psychological wounds no Roman training could have prepared him for. Haunted by battle, shaped by gladiators, savages, and torn between duty and identity, he descends into the darkness required to survive Rome's wars. Yet everything changes when he encounters a man unlike any he's ever seen, a man whose words challenge the brutal logic of empire. As Secundus wrestles with violence, trauma, loyalty, he must decide who he will become, a weapon of Rome or something far more powerful. Secundus, get the hard copy. You get this nice little heartthrob thirst trap on the front of this one. Now there is a soft copy. It's actually behind me on the bed bookshelf thing back here. It has a picture of Secundus holding something in his hand, but there's a link in the I don't know if you pinned it to the top or not, but there was a link in the private chat if you want to throw it into that. It'll be in the description either way. Yeah, and it'll be in my descriptions and stuff as well because I am sharing this. Yeah, click on it, check it out, and soon there will be a I'll go ahead and put this. Soon there will be the prequel to Secundus will be released. It's called Antonius. You'll see why. Obviously, we just read the description. Antonius is his dad. So Antonius will come out next, and then you'll see sequels. I won't say much, but I think a lot of y'all, when you get through this, you're going to be able to predict some of the things that we're doing here and other things. Probably not so much. But like I said, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, 40,000 words.
Oh, okay. All right.
Let's see the Outsiders, 40,000 words. The Great Gatsby, 38.8 thousand words. This is 40,000 words, 40.5. So it's about an 8-hour read. And so if somebody picks this up, if you just read it a few hours every day, or even when you're just sitting on the toilet, more than likely about a week later, you'll be done and you'll be drawn into my world here.
Witch Doctor, can I ask you a question? Have you attempted any bibliomancy with your book at all?
What's that?
Are you familiar with bibliomancy? Bibliomancy is one of the things that the Christians used to do very, very early on with their Bible. They would take it and say, blah, 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 Jesus, please send me a message. What is the message that you're sending me? And flip through the book. And when they're felt compelled to stop, they would read that passage from their book. And I want to ask you, would you want to do a little bibliomancy to close the show out? Just do a little. Let's say a prayer to the. A prayer to the muses. Muses, what is the message from Witch Doctors, Secundus, And after this, I'm gonna go drop a really mean Secundus in honor of Boroboros. Muses, what is the message? Please deliver the message to us from
Whoa,
Secundus.
You only have to read
Doctor?
like 2 lines. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
read a couple of lines. What did the muse deliver to you?
Well,
Okay.
2 lines? You just want me to
Whatever you want to read, just whatever
Well,
the muse
I
delivered. Trust the
don't-
muse.
You
Read
have
the
to-
muse.
Okay.
She delivered it to you through the page. What she delivered? What page are you on?
I'm on page 22.
Ooh, all right. What did she deliver on page
I've read
22
that
of your own
page.
book? Bibliomancy, ladies and ladies.
Says another year had passed, and the streets of Capua were crowded with boys, all 17 years of age, gathered by magistrates and town fathers for the annual muster. The sun hung low over the morning sky, burning with the kind of heat that made the stone walls shimmer, and the air smelled faintly of dust and sweat. Families stood clustered in the square, the chatter of farewells mingling with the creak of wagons and the braying of packed animals. Young women crying, pulling in the arms of their new husband heading to Rome's front line. Among them, Antonius, Livia, Catalina, Secundus, and Marcus made their way through the throng. Marcus's departure had been planned for weeks. Antonius had arranged for him to join a friend, a veteran of a special division of Rome's army known as the Spectralores. Due to the scribe skills, Marcus could write. Due to the scribe skills of Rome and brutal hand-to-hand combat training that their entire lives. They were scouts, spies, and elite messengers trained for speed, discretion, and brutal efficiency. Marcus and Secundus had developed a working knowledge of different dialects from various helpers over the years. Their father's estate, not to mention gladiators from all 4 corners of the earth, taking the time to teach the boys all the tricks of their trade. Unusual languages and various skin tones, some extremely light with reddish hair, others as dark as the night sky. Little did the boys know that growing in an environment having people from different cultures was going to help them in battle. With the Roman army being extremely diverse, this gave Marcus an advantage for making companions and learning new skills that would be fitting for the Spectralores. Marcus would travel under the tutelage of the man who himself learned from Antonius long ago. And in this way, the family's legacy would continue. Decimus Maximus Varro, a deadly spy and known scribe. He used to take Marcus under his wing and expand his knowledge.
Yo, the muse delivers when you let her, dude. That was fucking great, man.
And it was one of my favorite pages that we listened to. You know,
Yeah.
we got up to chapter 7 while I was cleaning my studio. So, you know, that was what, chapter 4 or 5, I think.
You know, what I really love is that you're doing a, you know, is the pen mightier than the sword kind of a thing right there. You know what I mean? Like the muse delivered, like, you know, that's what she delivered to me while you were reading that. You know what I mean? Was like, you know, sometimes when depending on your age, the pen may seem mightier than the sword. Sometimes the sword might be mightier than the pen, depending on how much vocabulary you have, you know. And the more people you know, the more diverse your group is. You're getting back to linguistic reality tunnels again. The wider your linguistic reality tunnel is. You know what I mean? The more capable you are of obtaining gnosis, the more words you have to describe the things around you. You know what I mean? And you know, that's a beautiful thing. So, you know, and you're also looking at like the war aspect of it, right? So you're kind of getting in that Tower of Babel where, like, you know, a lot of the wars have to do with miscommunication, and like sometimes the miscommunication is deliberate. You know, I love that. Like, you know, that's what the muse just did. The muse delivered. And, you know, when we talk about the muse and we talk about, you know, bibliomancy and we talk about chaos magic, and, you know, when you are a creative and you have a communion with Calliope, when you have a communion with the muses, Talia in my case, you know, the goddess of comedy, and also, you know, have a communion with Momos and a communion with Balbo, right? This is what I channel when I read other people's material. When I read what the muse delivered somebody else, you know, I read it through my Balboian, my Hecatian like framework that I have, my linguistic reality tunnel. So, you know, that's one of my favorite things about you know, having creative friends and having friends who are writers, is that You know, you probably didn't intend that when you wrote it, right? But because of the death of the author, I'm able to maybe, you know, contribute my interpretation and what the muse delivered to me with your work, right? I'm not trying to interpret what the muse delivered to you. That's your story to tell. You can tell what the muse delivered to you, but reading what the muse delivered to you and my impression, you know, that's beautiful post-structuralism and postmodernism and, you know, all of that, you know, methodological stuff. I love it. It's all chaos magic, man.
Have you ever wondered how people interpret how they read another book? Like, I've always wondered, like, does the guy look the same to someone else?
Right. Like, what image in their mind, you know, like if they were to cast an actor for your book,
right.
would they
everyone thinking the same guy or no?
Right. Like, how much do you, and you know, one of the things that you did in there that I love is that you're using the olfactory as a rhetorical device, right? You incorporated the smell of the dirt, the smell of the environment, right? That takes you out of the text. You can't smell that, but if you can relate to it, you're building your own mind palace, right? Like,
I'll be honest, a lot of that is also like taking up space on the page too. I'm like, all right, let me go in here and write like the sun was just barely creeping over the trees when the dew started to evaporate off the grass that morning. You know, like just to take up space and slow down the cinematic effect. Because the way that Secundus is kind of written, and I think everybody will know what I mean, it's written like a movie.
Right.
It's not a script.
Is it 3 acts or 5 acts?
Yeah, it's not ready to be a script for sure. There's so much left out of what you would end up having for dialogue even to make the fucking movie. But yeah, it reads like a movie where it's like in your brain when you remember the book, it's not going to take up weeks and weeks of reading it. It's not going to take up a lot of room, you know. It's and a big portion of it, you know, and not to give a whole lot away, you know, people know a lot about some of the stuff in this story. They already know a lot about it.
Yeah.
So once they realize what is happening in this book, it's like they already have so much, but then it's not the same.
Hell yeah, man.
Which took so long to get there. I mean, it really did. Like before, writing a different book is a period piece. You'll publish it, and then a year later, you'll realize that you screwed something up. You'll realize that's a way that you referred to maybe a rank or you know what I mean? So you don't want to be too detailed when you're writing fiction, unless it's like the costume that the person's wearing, the height, the look, like Dobby Harry Potter looked exactly how he described it in the book. I've only read the half of the second book. I've never read any other Harry Potter in my life, but when the first movie came out, I read the beginning of the second book. And then I said, okay, this is fucking stupid. So like I let that go. And then when the movie came out, I watched it and I was like, that looks just like how they described it. And one of the authors I asked advice on a long time ago. And it was something I wanted to make sure that I didn't do, or at least the overall vibe was that you can't have too many details with too many characters. You run the risk of them sounding the same.
Yeah.
You know, the dad's got to sound different than Secundus. Secundus got to be a little different than the other friends he has. You know, what do? I make them from different countries. That way they can't seem the same. Because when you think of Secundus has a friend named Zarek. Well, Zarek's from India. So there's an Indian Roman right next to Secundus, and they barely understand each other the whole time.
Right.
They're doing shit, you know. And they're learning the languages, and you see this broken down in the book where they're saying "good job" in each other's language to each other, practicing fighting and stuff. And
Hell yeah, dude.
You see that civil affairs guy in me trying to put that into the book for sure. And there's going to be more to come. There's way more to come that no one's done what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Is, you know, I mean, there's been some movies that have had some different swings and that is for sure, but this, I think people are going to really enjoy this one the most. But anyway,
yeah, dude.
When you said Capua, did you know that Capua was the city that had the black market where they would sell all the drugs?
Capua?
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched, oh God, a lot of different documentaries on Capua when I was writing about it, but I didn't know about that. No. Well, there's something that here is something that I will say. Knowing that there is a lot of these markets and stuff everywhere, knowing the priestesses were everywhere, there are priestesses in this story, and there's stuff that y'all know about in the priestesses' hands in this story. So I'm glad I put that there because that goes hand in hand with that market being in Capua. So that's great.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, we're gonna wrap this at exactly 3 hours, which means right at this time we have 1 minute. Any closing thoughts, Tiger Shark? Keep it in short.
No,
Do you have any,
just read his book and live life and have fun, guys.
Read his book, live life, have fun. Witch Doctor, any final thoughts? Closing thoughts? You have 1 minute.
Yeah, I hope people are inspired to do it. If you were thinking about it, go do it. I'm always the guy that goes and does it. Go do it, and you'll be proud of yourself.
I wrote a book. You wrote a book. There's no reason anybody in the audience right now can't write a book. Writing books is fun. It gives you the opportunity to be able to do some bibliomancy and some chaos magic of your own. And if I could give you a little bit of word of advice, man, when you're promoting your book, do that fucking bibliomancy bit at the end of every single interview and say, I want to close this out with a little bit of bibliomancy and flip through. And I'm going to close out this next 20 seconds with a little bibliomancy. And it says, the history of all hitherto societies is the history of y'all struggling to understand satire. Hail Eris. Hail Satan. Free Palestine.